Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Team Fortress TV channel. It is the time, the moment we've blood, sweat, and tears of over weeks, months, and lots of people have turned up, not only in Twitch chat, but staff as well, to cover our grand final of ETF2L Season 38. Breathe it in, boys. Breathe it in, because we're going to be here for a long time. I hope you've got the coffee on and some packed sandwiches in the back there, because we're in for a good one. It is going to be our grand final of nerdRage versus Faint Gaming EU, and I've got a cast of merry men, much smarter than I, TurboTabs, here to lead you into the charge. Let me introduce them all one by one before we get underway. So I'm going to be joined on the analysis desk. This is going to be the main guy who's going to be talking 90% of the content. It's going to be Eemes here. Say hello, Eemes, to the nice people.
Hello, Turbo, and hello, Twitch chat. I'm ready for some analysis before this game.
Magical, magical. Now, it's not only I that's going to be covering this. We've got two lovely casters that are going to be casting over this content. We're going to shut them up for the meantime, but I think they can spare a quick hey hello before we put them back in the box. Lucky, Bum, are you there?
Hello, I'm here. I'm in my box.
I'm sat in the box. Bum freezes hogging all the room.
All right, that's it, boys. Get back in the box. Get back in the box. Okay, all right. And no cast would be complete if we didn't have the caster of the season here, incidentally doing the observing. But still, Peter's in the background here. I'm not sure if you can hear him, but he's here, I promise. But he's going to be doing that lovely, lovely observing for us. And also, we've got another silent man in the background doing too many button pressing. It's going to be Adam ArchRhythm on that production as well, so you know it's going to be good. This guy does lands, for Christ's sakes. Okay, so Eames, back to the analysis desk, because we've got a lot to analyze here, and the only analysis I can offer is just what's been posted on these match pages time after these two teams meet up. Is someone's taken a shit here. Okay, Ayo, somebody's taking a shit here. nerdRage versus Faint Gaming EU. What kind of shit did they even spring to get to this point here? Like, what is the story of, like, say, nerdRage, for example?
Well, in terms of the season, I think they had the best season out of anyone. They won every single game apart from drawing, of course, to Faint earlier in the season, so they topped the league tables pretty handily. Then they beat GCEU pretty easily in the first round of the knockouts, or rather the upper bracket. And then they took a pretty clean victory over Faint as well in the lower bracket, or the upper bracket final, rather. And that was about a week or so ago, putting them safely into the final, although it should be noted that Faint didn't have one of their star players, in fact, which is Yeehor, for that particular game, so that could have, is almost certainly likely to have made them play worse in that one. So this is really the rematch here. It's definitely not going to be a foregone conclusion at all. For even though the nerdRage did win the previous match.
All right. So before we get into the Faint Gaming side of things, I know Dum Tum is seething at the teeth to talk to hear from them. Let's get a bit more into that nerdRage roster. So that nerdRage roster in particular, if everybody's been living under a rock, it is Seeds on Medic, Nasboy on Demoman, Josh playing that Pocket Soldier, Nubby on that Roaming Soldier, Moralexi on the Scout class, and his buddy Gazi as well on that Scout class. But let's put the nerdRage down just for a little second, and Faint Gaming, that Faint Gaming squad. What's the story behind them, Eames? Like, if nerdRage were having such a great season, were they exactly the same like them, or were they having a bit of a harder season coming into it?
It was not quite as perfect as nerdRage's, certainly. They did obviously come second eventually in the league table, but they did lose. They drop a whole map to top 5, if I recall correctly, and I think as well even to GCEU. So they lost maps here and there, although they obviously came out second in the end. So not quite as clean. They weren't always destroying teams as handily, and they did have quite a few upset maps where you would kind of think they'd be winning, and particularly against the third and fourth teams. But something sort of early in the map just went against them, and they kind of got rolled from there. Whereas nerdRage were a little bit more consistent in beating the weaker teams.
Fair play, fair play. Just to remind everybody of that Faint Gaming EU roster, it is Vanny on that Medic class, Mac is playing that Lovable Demoman, Hugo on that Pocket Soldier, Opti on that Roaming Soldier, Voxy or Voxtech on that Scout class, and Yeehaw also playing that Scout buddy. And I mean, these two teams, usually plebs like mainly me and some people in Twitch chat, but look at these two teams and think like, oh, maybe it's just one team is better than the other, or there's no real sort of styles to it. One just aims slightly better than the other, or all that jazz. But are these two teams very similar in their style of play, Eames, or are they actually quite different in the realms of how they play TF2?
No, they're not very similar, to be honest. So for nerdRage, the biggest thing about the style, I would say, is that they very much have two parts of their team. They have their combo, who's very much together all the time, and they have their flank, which consisting more or less as well with Josh. Obviously, Josh, Nubby, and Gazzy, all liking to make very aggressive plays, sort of on their own, while the combo, Kunu, Nasboy, and Seeds will play often somewhat passive, but making sure they stay alive a lot, particularly Kunu and Seeds, so that the aggression of whatever it is never actually getting the med. So Nubby and Josh and players and Gazzy can play very, very aggressive while knowing that Kunu is always going to keep their med alive. Whereas Feint, they play more as a unit, all kind of following up together on each other's aggression. So if you expect if Feint are going to be doing a push, is either going to work pretty well for the whole team with more like coordinated aggression, I would say, or they might wipe broadly. That's a bit of a quick analysis of that, as we are going live fairly soon now, I think, Turbo.
You are completely correct, sir. So join us back at the analyst desk very soon, as we're going to be covering our first map. It will be Product in our 5-map grand final. We're going to send it over to Lucky and Bum now, who are going to be taking you through our first map. Good luck, boys.
Thank you, Turbo, for taking us through the analyst element of this grand finals. Bumfreeze, are you ready to get this underway, dude?
I am so ready to get this underway. This is obviously the game we've all been waiting for all season, and it is going to be going underway any second now on Product. We didn't get very much time to talk about the maps. It is a best-of-5 final here tonight. Product going to be kicking it off, which was actually played in the upper bracket final, and nerdRage managed to take it down there. So we'll see if they can repeat this tonight. We are going live now into the ETF2L Season 38 Grand Finals, nerdRage versus Feint Gaming.
Yeah, nerdRage have been typically very, very good at picking on Product, so we're going to see how they pull out. Coming out of the gate here, Nasboy getting some early damage down to Mac, looking pretty good. Yeehor now super weak as well, already at the start of this mid. Both teams opting to play passive as the point is about to be unlocked, just receiving their heals. Hugo's getting absolutely bodied though before he can even jump, so the soldier's now going to commit from the side of nerdRage. Looks like they're going in all the way nice and deep. Already Justin behind on top of Vanny. Good damage onto Vanny here, so they're managing to pressure really well, but he goes down first. So one pick apiece is opting to go down the flank as well, but they do manage to find Mac as well, so the demo man going down. Pretty massive stuff here, Bumfreeze. Looks like the cap time is in the side of Feint Gaming, but with that demo man on a respawn, you can't help but think it's going to be a nerdRage mid.
Yeah, they did a perfect job of taking down Josh. He tried to jump in behind, but Feint cleared that up instantly. Opti, unfortunately, fell on the sidelines. Now there's a bit of aggression coming forwards onto the enemy cliff. nerdRage getting a bit close for comfort. They do take a hell of a lot of damage and fall back, but for now they have control of the points. The Ubers are even. Everything is going their way so far. Josh in with another bomb, just landing behind while the Ubers come forward. It is now traded onto Nasboy. A bit of a better Uber for Seeds, and Hugo gets picked off the back of that Uber as well, but they have found both soldiers in the meantime.
Yeah, looks like they are managing to actually win this one on the side of Feint Gaming. Seeds is the only one left alive, and they are trying to chase here. Yeehor is coming through main. He's trying to get the gap closed onto Seeds. The bomb is coming in from Opti, but he can't quite land it in time, so he's just going to be retreating out there. But very nice stuff there from Feint Gaming, taking that huge trade, and managing to win that one out. It's looking kind of a little bit disastrous, but they managed to find a pick here and there. Looks like we're going into a forward hold, trying to bust on this right-hand side. We do pick up Josh early on with Max, so no soldier now available for them if they want to get through here. So one player disadvantage already, alongside that Uber disadvantage here, Bumfreeze.
Yeah, but losing a player to take out that forward hold isn't too bad. Josh is already going to be back up and ready to play. There is a slight Ubercharge advantage on the side of Vanny. If they decide to capitalize on this and try and take it forwards into Seeds, they could hold on to this point for a while longer. Vanny's just about to come up on that Ubercharge now. Seeds on 80%. There's a bit of edging the point going on from Gazzy there, but no team wants to step forwards at the moment. Gaz still just tickling the point, and now the bomb in behind from Nubby. We'll see what happens now. Josh goes forwards, forces off the Uber, and there's no response so far. Two soldiers down for nerdRage. They're just going to fall back out. They still have 100% though.
Yeah, nerdRage, they're doing a good job of escaping there, but I mean, they could have already taken the counter aggression. They had enough damage done that they could have gone on it. I feel like they're feeling the heat a little bit already in this grand final, and looks like they are going to be trying to bust again once again on this left-hand side. Mac has it sticking off though. dealing quite a lot of damage to them as they're trying to bust through. But Josh managed to get in nice and clean this time around, and Yeehor can't do anything to deny him with that full 300 HP buff that he has available to him. And with this ad, looks like they're going to be coming off cliff. It's a very typical Seeds Uber right now. They're just going to jump off cliff, use out their Uber charge, get all the space for the team, but they're not managing to find anyone. Mac might get caught here. In fact, he is on this cliff, and they managed to get that pick nice and early, but Seeds goes down for it. Yeehor was there in behind, and the bomb comes through from the flank of Fake Gaming, and they managed to get on top of this point here decently enough, just delaying this clock for them. And Vanny, once again, did survive in all of this chaos. Gazzy going down at the tail end of this, so massive Uber advantage here for Fake Gaming, but the point is traded.
Yeah, Max separated himself from his team on the end of that Uber from Seeds there. They had to chase Mac instead of chase out Vanny, so he managed to keep his medic alive, the more important player, and then, of course, Yeehor taking down Seeds right on the tail end of the Uber gives them this advantage to come straight back into the game. They do have the time advantage on the clock. They have the Uber advantage here. Yeehor taking 1v1 with Gaz, though, on the wrong side of the point, getting a bit hairy there, but neither of them will fall yet. Feint still just trying to cap this point without using the Uber charge up. They've got it about 90% capped. They just need to push it over the edge to start getting their clock ticking again. But the spam from Josh just destroys Voxy, who was playing on the corner there. He's going to go down, and the point still isn't capped. It's just about going to go Feint's way now. And now the Ubers are still in their favor, but they've lost Mac.
Moral Alexi there actually delayed on the Mac death, let the cap go through, and then killed Mac afterwards. Very, very big play there. So Mac was on a long respawner, and this is going to buy them some time here for Seeds to get his Uber charge. A slight disadvantage there. They get the recapture through, but the clock is very, very even right now. So we're just going to see another bit of toing and throwing here. Maybe a bit of classic, you know, edging the cap, a little bit of here, there, and everywhere. Yeehor is going to try and land it, but Nasboy's doing such a good job of denying it that it looks like they're going to have to go for another Uber trade here. Voxy gearing up on the left-hand side going in now. Nasboy gets popped on pretty much immediately, so this Uber trade is going to be pretty good for the side of Seeds right now. They're going to be running in, trying to get on Mac here, all the way in the back. And Seeds is really, really committed now across this point here, but they imagine to clear up everyone. Vanny's going low, does pick up that pack there, does get a sword into Seeds, so Seeds is taking a decent amount of damage here. And Yeehor trying to cover for the cleanup, gets meat shot, goes down, and unfortunately it's going to be a wipe. But Opti now coming in behind with a salvage, just gets a headshot out of the sky by Josh there.
Yeah, Feint, they tried to put 3 players behind, but then, you know, Seeds and Co just know immediately, well, we can use this invincibility that we seem to have to go forwards and kill everyone else, and that's no problem at all. Exactly what they do. And now the clock is in favor of nerdRage while they have Feint against the ropes on this forward spawn hold here, and the players are actually getting traded out, though. Nasboy falling is very beneficial, but Vanny has died as well in the meantime, so they're going to give up the point, nerdRage here, it looks like, and then play with the Uber advantage. Maybe not Impact, they do just block with the Uber charge outright, and there's only 10 seconds left. Yeehor and his spawners just regathering everything they have now, but I don't think there's going to be much time. It's gone to overtime on the point. They have to throw their bodies at it, and it's just not going so well so far. Opti touches it for a second, but that's the first round to nerdRage.
Look a little bit shaky coming out of the gate there for nerdRage, actually. They actually lost a couple of fights that they really shouldn't have lost. A little bit of overextending coming out, but in the end, they managed to win it out. So getting that first round on the board is very good. Gives you the moral advantage here. Moral Alexa there, a little bit of a cheeky pun for you early on there, Bumfries, coming into this grand finals. We've got plenty more to come. Heading into our next mid-fight, though, Nasboy's going to be making his way in, but rather weak here. He did go for a little bit of an extra jump there. He's actually going to eat a bunch of spam early on, so Yeehor getting nice and aggressive across this point, but both teams very content with hanging back before the point unlocks for capture.
Yep, neither team making the first move as of yet. Hugo now jumping forwards onto Nubby on the enemy grass. The rest of the players just flooding across the point for nerdRage. They've kind of swapped sides here. Gazzy and Nubby now getting caught out on the point. Josh is the sole survivor on the wrong side of mid, and Nubby on his own grass. But now Feint are just choosing who to capitalize on, and they do it perfectly. Go back, get Josh. Nubby jumps in and they clean him up too, so a very clean mid-fight for Feint. 100% advantage to boot. This could be a better round for them.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to opt for any forward. Actually, no, it looks like they are going for the forward hold. A little bit late here, though, and they've already busted out Cliff, so Mac's not going to be able to do too much there, and they're just going to retreat to a more standard hold. But they have this huge ad that you just talked about, so likely we're going to see a sack wave coming out from the side of nerdRage right now. They're just moving up, getting everyone healed up. Moral Alexi just healing up on the Cliff. Nasboy getting ready to jump here as well. Josh heading over to that left-hand side. So they know this on the side of Fake Gaming. They're sitting really far back here underneath the bridge, and it looks like Vanny's just retreating for his life. Around through main, is actually going to get jumped on. Goes super weak. Nice air shot there from Opti to get that deny out, and Gazzy is going to try and get in there, but unable to find the kill. Vanny manages to escape through main. Very, very weak. Back to spawn to get full HP.
Yeah, a nice backwards surf from Vanny, and then just runs all the way back to spawn. the safest place you can be. They do actually pick off Nasboy as well. That's going to at least delay a little bit more. Now Seeds does have an Uber of his own, but if the rest of Feint get caught out a bit too close here, they do manage to fall back. Ghazi on the point, seeing if he can get any cap time, but he's gone down to a sliver of HP. He does manage to survive as the Uber trade comes out. Moralexi, he nearly focuses down Voxy on the end of the Uber, but instead it looks like Feint's going to be the one getting frags during all of this. Moralexi now against 2 scouts on his own grass, but he's got the backup there to help him out, bail him out. But Gaz, Mac just bails out Voxy instead. Voxy was so weak, and then Mac just comes in, plonks those stickies on his head, and keeps all of Feint alive. It's a flawless round so far for them. No time on the clock for nerdRage.
Yeah, beautiful peeling there from Feint Gaming. They just took fights at all the right times, made sure they were backing each other up. It was beautiful, a beautiful symphony of just DM and raw gameplay between them. So very nice stuff coming up from Feint Gaming so far in this round. But more edging coming out of the camp here from nerdRage, but they're just sending players forward. Voxy just gets in there and murders Nubby. Ghazi getting super weak here, and the scout goes down. Unfortunately, Josh is going to get cleaned up here in main as well. Amazing frags coming out for the side of Feint Gaming as they're chasing them all the way out of this point here. 60 seconds remaining on their clock, 3 minutes remaining for nerdRage. It's looking rather dire for them, with Voxy currently on a 6k.
This is so nice for Feint so far in this round, and that could be a lot better for them than what we saw in the upper bracket final. This was one of the maps that they weren't doing so well on, but now the double sack is in. Josh and Nubby will manage to get that force off onto Vanny. They're 2 soldiers down, but in the trade for the Uber, it's completely worthwhile. See if Seeds can use his own to good effect. He does now pop off to the force from Hugo, but will they be able to clean up all the frags? Max still alive on point, will eventually get taken down. Optium from behind lands straight on Seeds. 2 clean rockets, and now finally nerdRage going to have control of the point, but with 15 seconds left for Feint. Wow, they've got a hell of a lot way to climb.
Opti at the end there. Massive stuff from him. Hugo with an amazing bomb to get that force out of them, and then Opti with the cleanup at the tail end just to get Seeds, so make sure that Uberad totally negated there, so they're going to be able to take this down side of Feint Gaming. 45% up for them already with 15 seconds remaining on the clock here, Bumfries. So now it's all about whether Nasboy can land a cheeky trap. He does doubt it sticks really early on, however, so a little bit of a trick there. Josh actually hits the ceiling, so a little bit unfortunate there for him, but he's playing in a good position. Nubby's going as well. Does find Vanny, so they do manage to get that pick off. Beautiful stuff from him, and now they're just going to flood players forward. They need to get some cap time down or get on top of Seeds. Looks like they are just opting for kind of both. Hugo's already taken the high ground here, and Mac is heading across that right hand side. Really good damage. They're committing the soldiers across. Seeds gets annihilated! Oh my god, Opti with a massive air shot, and Yeehor just cleaning up house. Although they do manage to get the pipe with the tail, and then Nasboy managed to clean up Yeehor, so it's alright.
So close to the Yeehor 1v3, and like you said, they needed to go for Vanny, or they needed to go for the point, and they did the perfect thing they could have done. They played on the point, baited all of nerdRage forward. They had to stop that point because there's so little time, and then they went for Seeds after dragging the players forwards, and they managed to get so many kills off the back of it. Don't manage to convert, but now they can just play the point, which is so close to capped. Josh bombs in trying to get Mac, but he gets taken down swiftly. Nubby bombing in as well, just to delay the cap time here. There's a bomb forwards from Hugo, dragging some players back, while the rest of Feint managed to cap up the point. 10 seconds now. nerdRage have to immediately reconvene on this point. They are having a lot of cap time on it. Opti getting taken down as well. 5 seconds left on Feint's clock.
Yeah, this is going to be nerve-wracking if you're the side of Feint Gaming now. You're probably thinking a little bit too much in the headset of, we've only got 5 seconds left on the clock and not a lot of, we need to regroup, go together, and make sure things happen. Yeehor, as a classic result, getting picked off, being split off away from the team. Nubby's now taking a 1v1, though, on this left-hand side. He's going to get denied here and has to run all the way back out. So it looks like we're going to see a bit of a retake here. Both medics have Uber, so going to see Feint Gaming on the back foot here, but Voxy gets cleaned up immediately from the stickies from Nasboy, which is awful when you're trying to reclaim this point. Luckily, he's on a short spawner because, you know, attacking team and fast respawners here. And Yeehor's going to be running in. Looks like they're going for this trade. Unfortunately, it's a little bit of a scuffed one, and Vanny's going to have to retreat off this point here. They do get good damage onto Josh, but the rest of the side of nerdRage are there to back them up. So they're able to get across this point here with Mac. Good damage, but he's got no one else to back him up here. Hugo going for the bomb, and they're trying to get some cap time down at the same time, but unable to do so. Josh bombing in. Good damage onto Vanny as well. They're just making them unable to recontest this point.
Yeah, that last second flash from Seeds onto Josh there could be what saved this round. Just Josh staying alive, managing to keep those players up and then juggle Mac, catch him in on the tail end of the Uber. It's all going very well, but with no Ubers to play for, 30 seconds on the clock for nerdRage as well, they can just start capping this point. Yeehor's put a bit of cap time into it, but it's not quite enough. Seeds does get taken down here, and now the damage is really starting to stack up on the side of nerdRage. All of this damage is going to stay around for quite a while. They're all scattering to try and find health packs. But in the meantime, Feint still have their heals up. They need to take these fights. Yeehaw immediately 2-shots. Nubby with the huge Market Gardener. But will it be enough? There's so much cap time on point. Josh is 1 HP. He gets taken down. Feint. They do manage to get the point. 3 seconds. No one can block in time. That's it. 1-1.
Nubby. That was a really nice Market Gardener right at the end, but unfortunately, because he was using the Market Gardener, unable to shoot the crucial rockets that may have secured the round right there. But it's fine in the end. Feint Gaming, they managed to get the first round on the board, so 1-1 currently. Looking like a bit of a scorcher coming in here, Bumfries, into this grand final, game number 1.
Yeah, and Feint really need this map to get underway. They are the underdog in this series. They really want to start this off 1-0 to really have the advantage early on, especially after dropping this map that they are usually so confident in. Perhaps they blame the Merc, who knows, that they did have in the upper bracket final, but we do now have our third mid underway. Hugo bombing straight forwards. Everyone is scattered from each other though. Oh my god, it's a huge double kill for Opti. Mac helps him out to get more Alexi as well. This is looking so clean for Feint. Nubby very, very low behind that rock. Just going to get taken down any second now. Tries to jump away. Oh my god, that was clinical.
Beautiful stuff there from Feint Gaming. This is all they did on the last mid, just responded appropriately. For some reason, Josh and Seeds are deciding, you know what, we're going to run across the right side of the point. And that is not working out for them at all. They lost on the last mid, they lost on this mid, even harder this time around. So now they're in the exact same situation where that mid isn't quite working out for them and they're not taking it properly. So it looks like Feint Gaming on the front foot already. Looks like Seeds is only at 30% and Vanny has his. So they're going to go for a bit of edge capping and then they're going to try and sack some players. And Josh is now going in nice and deep towards Vanny, but Vanny is sitting in house. Looks like they are bouncing him around in there though, and he has managed to escape out the back door. Does get on the low ground, Nubby with the last rocket, but he starts off nicely, and they manage to keep Vanny alive, and they keep their hopes and dreams of this point capture in vision.
Yeah, they were just playing pinball with Vanny, bouncing him back and forth in that house. All the soldiers and demos did actually live for quite a long time, but Vanny manages to live throughout it anyway. And now this is a minute already off the clock for Feint into this third round. Gazzy going to be running forwards, trying to help Nubby out on the flank here. But nothing really happening as of yet. Seed still doesn't have this Uber, and while the Ubers are up, it's going to be very easy to stop this cap if the trade does come out now. And it looks like it will.
Feint Gaming here, actually. They're trying to get on top of this, but they have got no backup here. Mac is too weak to rejoin the fight, so Vanny has to flash off the Uber and arrow Mac. So as a result, they only managed to kill Nubby with everything here. Hugo actually going down in the front line, so unable to support him. But looks like Yeehaw across the point. 2 shots of Moral Alexi, but Gatti with a 2-shot in return. Looks like they are fighting against this one. Josh goes in nice and deep onto Mac, but Mac is just holding forwards. He is only looking at the enemy team as Opti frags absolutely everyone. Josh down to 1 HP and a dream on Cliff. As looks like Feint Gaming managed to win out that skirmish, and they're just going to wait for their spawners before they recapture this point.
Yeah, and I know it's way too early to call it, but if I have to name a man of the match already, Opti is doing a hell of a lot of work for Feint tonight. There was a huge double kill from him in that fight as well there to really secure it for them. And now, once again, Feint in advantage. They have the point, they have a pick on Gaz, and they have Ubercharge advantage.
Looks like they're trying to make their way in now on the side of nerdRage, taking their time to get in here, making sure they clear out everything, make sure there's no traps or anything before they send their sacks. They don't want to lose one too early if they're sending a sack wave here. Vanny does get his Uber charge now, and they know it, so Josh is just gearing up on Cliff, making sure everyone's buffed. Moral Alexi playing around C's on that Cliff area. 1 minute 5 seconds remaining on the clock, so they need to send these sacks nice and fast now as they're sending a Nubby nice and deep on towards Vanny. They don't manage to find him on this early instance, but Gazzy's just playing the cap time now, and Josh manages to get on top of Vanny again, but can't quite find it. And Opti with the deny. This man just making sure they can't do anything on the side of nerdRage.
Yeah, and now they gift a forward hold to Feint on top of all the advantages they already had. This is looking good for them in this third round. We're going to see, looks like they do try and bust Nubby out straight away, but he's just going to get taken down. Josh jumps through behind as well, just pushing people back with the flamethrower of Gazzy as well, but they've all fallen. This is a completely unsuccessful forward hold break. They lose 3 players for it, and that's more and more time just ticking down off the clock to nerdRage's demise in this first map here.
It looks like Ghazi is now up on his favorite class, the Pyro, but they need something a little bit faster if they're going to be getting out here. They're going to have to commit this Pyro to full play if they're going to do anything here. He's just got a Power Jack out. They're running towards the point. They need to get an Uber trade off and get players on this point. It's a very tall order, but they find Opti first. Nice reflect from Ghazi, though. Reflects a flight back into Mac's face, and they do manage to get this capture through. So they do manage to get in nice and clean, but unfortunately for them, they cap out this point. So Nubby on a 15-second respawner. Ghazi going down late as well, so they have massive player disadvantage on the side of nerdRage, and they're going to have to try and take this trade here to slow them down. Cap time is coming down. They're going to go in for the trade now. They do take it, and they pop out both Ubers, but it's looking relatively even in terms of Uber trade here. More Alexi and C's the only ones left in the point, and Opti is already on the high ground on that rock. More Alexi getting bounced all over the place, but manages to surf out nicely on this point here, but Josh getting cleaned up. The cap goes through. It's 2-1 bum freeze.
Yeah, Feint taking an early lead, and as I've said so much, they do desperately need it. I think I reckon nerdRage have the upper hand in most maps in this final, apart from probably Sunshine. I reckon if they had two bans in this best of 5 final, Sunshine would have been the other one nerdRage went for. So I expect that to go to Feint a bit later, but I was fully expecting nerdRage to be in the driver's seat for the other maps here. And in this 4th round, Hugo already going down, Opti in behind. He's getting chased down as well. Vanny has just been caught by Nasboy with the stickies already. This is a disastrous mid for Feint. They're trying to sack everyone in to try and get seeds, but it's the complete opposite of what we've seen out of them so far. nerdRage ultimately dominant on that mid.
Yeah, nerdRage changed up what they wanted to do on that mid fight. They decided they were going to go left side this time. Josh goes in for an early bomb, kind of scuffed, but he goes back, gets healed up, and does it again, and manages to do it successfully. So they managed to get the left-hand side buff, and they managed to drag out the players on the side of Feint Gaming, catch Vanny, and then from there it was an easy cleanup. So it looks like we're going into a forward hold now, and Opti's already spotted out using that little jump spot, which you can use in spawn to just peek over the wall, see what they're doing, and they do spot this forward hold that's going on. So looks like they're going to try and choose whether they want to bust, and it looks like Yehor is already up on the Pyro class, which is telegraphing you they're going to go for a right side push. Reflecting an early rocket though, stickies do get reflected. The soldier gets in nice and clean, but immediately cleaned up. They're sending in Mac as well, going for the force. They do find it onto seeds, so they do manage to force it out in the end.
Yeah, I mean, despite it being a good play for Feint either way, it could have even been better if Seeds pops a millisecond later there. Everyone on nerdRage was so low. Feint did a great job just busting and getting damage in. Now Hugo busting once again. Will find Nasboy for free actually. Vanny gets forced off in the meantime though from Josh just pinning him down in main. So it looks like Feint will get the point now, but Seeds once again will have a small Ubercharge advantage.
Yeah, it's pretty good if your Seeds actually having that 50% now, because it's going to allow you to take an aggressive Uber across this point here. But it looks like they're doing a really good job here on Feint of just getting in their faces, making sure they can't get any root push going on. But it's a little bit too early as Opti goes down pretty much immediately and is on a 12-second respawn. So now they're going to have to kind of get back, get healed up, as everyone ate so much damage. While the crit heals are still going on for the side of nerdRage, they're actually just going to send a Sackcloak. Get on top of Seeds, really good damage, but he doesn't have Uber, so he's not going to force. And he's able to survive through all of this. So nerdRage here just going to reclaim this point basically for free.
Yeah, unfortunately, Mac went down way too fast to even do any damage. Hugo's rocket was really nice, sending Seeds straight down into the ground, but there was no damage from Mac, and there was no one to follow up either, so ultimately Seeds does survive that. And as you say, he doesn't need to force, because he can't force, because he was on like 90%. Yeehaw once again on the Pyro. We'll see if they can bust out once again.
I've got to say, Yeehaw Pyro is nowhere near as impressive as the Ghazi Pyro. It's just a statement. And they actually just use straight through, and it's a bit of a scuffed use. I'm not sure why you'd run a Pyro if you're going to use through the doorway. I mean, it's kind of counterintuitive. As the bomb comes in, looks like this Ubercharge is getting really aggressive here from Seeds, and they're just W-king into them here. Yeehaw is still in the Pyro, though, so they're taking an Uber into a Pyro, and now we're seeing the opposite side of what's meant to happen, and you're not supposed to take an Uber into a Pyro, but a little bit of scuff coming out from Feint Gaming, getting a little bit ahead of themselves. Not sure why they used off that Uber.
Yeah, that was drivel, as you say. Opti does find Nasboy, though, and now has an opportunity on Ghazi as well, which he will also collect. And now Moralexi, easy pick onto him. Matt can bomb forwards onto Seeds, pins him up against the wall, and he gets the follow-up. But Nubby did find Vanny in the back lines, which I'm guessing is what that reaction was.
Yeah, he went in super high. He hit the skybox, and then he came down, spoons him in the face. Easy pick for Nubby there. So that pick actually matters here, because otherwise they would have had Uber disadvantage on the side of nerdRage. And now we're in a situation where it's basically even. Only a 10% disparity in these Ubers. So coming to this next fight, it's going to be relatively even. But 2 minutes remaining for the side of Feint Gaming on this clock, only 28 seconds remaining for nerdRage here. So coming a little little bit tight in this end game here, as Fate are just going to send both soldiers in deep in behind here, but Yeehor getting immediately cleaned up. Hugo's going to recommit from behind, and Opti now peeling in nicely onto Seeds, finding that frag, and Gazzy and Josh getting cleaned up. These soldiers are doing so much work. It's just Moral Alexi versus the world, and he's just going to have to pick up this pack here and try and fight against all of these players. The cap is still down for Feint Gaming, so the more time Moral Alexi can waste here, the better, and it allows his respawners to come in here. So nerdRage gonna send Moral Alexi in, he's gonna die in the backline, but Seeds gets killed on forwards by Opti!
Opti has been impeccable so far today, both in that fight, just jumping in, getting a swift 2 kills, jumping out. He's done that so many times, and now finding Seeds just for free, getting even more of an advantage than Feint already had to play with. Feint still behind in this round so far, but with the Ubercharge advantage, it's looking like a good time to start a comeback in the round. Double soldiers in from nerdRage. Nubby and Josh both just jump in behind and then jump straight back out again. Lots of chaos going down on the point. Seeds gets found by Opti. Once again, I can't stop singing this man's praises. He's been absolutely optimal tonight.
Chalk one up on the scoreboard. Turbo, get your chalk out. We need you to chalk that one up as a good pun for the night. We're not going to have many of them, so, you know, let's just start counting the good ones now. But amazing bomb there from Opti. Vanny now with 100% Uber, so now nerdRage in a difficult position where they need to force out this Uber, get their own Uber, and then recapture the point. But they've got loads of cap time, which is their saving grace, and they're just going to take this aggressive Uber on the side of Feint Gaming just into them directly, which I feel like is the best play that they can make right now. And they managed to block that capture, but so much cap time down for nerdRage. Seeds is only up to 50%, so he's not going to have an Uber charge for the next 20 seconds at least. So Seeds is going to be heading up towards Cliff, just buffing up his players, getting ready for this repush to happen right now. And Moral Alexi taking that high ground, and Mac just going to retreat back, get all healed up, and get ready to receive this Uber. But 19 seconds remaining for Feint Gaming. If it's scuffed from nerdRage, it could be terrible for them here. Hugo's going to be bombing in on this flank, and he looks like he's going to get cleaned up really early on, and he does go down here. Nubby's going to be contesting that flank. Moral Alexi on the point, does receive a pipe. Opti there with the block. He's doing a really good job of making sure they don't get this capture through. 2 seconds remaining on the clock, 1 second. All it's going to take is a recapture from the side of Feint Gaming, and then they'll have it, and Vanny has time for an Uber.
Yeah, both players behind from Feint, though, do get cleaned up there. So now it's really, really neck and neck. If this forward hold comes in for nerdRage, it could be devastating. Feint are just getting pinned in this corner. There's so much damage. They're getting farmed. 7 seconds left on the clock. Feint need to bust out now and stand on that point. Vanny drops Mac from the Uber. That could be it. That is it. This is the round over. We're going to one final round to decide the map. 2-2. Whoever takes it will take product.
It's getting close. I mean, it was looking really good for nerdRage there, but Feint Gaming with a very nice 2-minute comeback like what happened to them versus nerdRage already. So 2-2 is the scoreline going to the 5th round. I mean, this is what we call the golden cap in the regular season, but looking very close between these two teams here, but both teams seem to be taking edges off each other everywhere. Vanny eating an early pipe as well, so that's going to do a lot for them here. Do mega bits, and looks like they're going to retreat players back. I've just noticed that Seeds is on crit streak, in fact, Bumfries.
Yeah, he's going to get that a hell of a lot earlier, already onto 80% versus Vanny's 60. And if Feint don't notice this, the stickies from Nasboy could be deadly. 95% now. He's letting Feint get into a false sense of security. They're all standing on the point. Nasboy, they use it off. Do they get anything at all? No, they don't. They flash it onto Moral Alexi. He's going to take down Vanny with the end of the crits and help from Gaz. What can Hugo do to salvage? Nothing. There's just 2 scouts left for Feint, and looks like they're running home with their tails between their legs.
Yeah, I mean, they do get the first capture for that one, which is fine, because both medics died, but Seeds is going to have a 10% Uber discount here. I think that's fine if you're Seeds. This was a worthwhile trade for you if you're using Chris Krieg. I mean, it was a really, really nice fight there overall from nerdRage. Just a shame that Nasboy missed basically all of his stickies. Maybe if he didn't have Parkinson's syndrome on his aim, he might have hit those, but Josh is going to be bombing in behind already, as the cap time is about to come through here. Good bomb to Vanny here, but very nice search from him, just moving all around that point. They cannot catch him, and in the backline, Nasboy going down as Opti finds all the damage that he needs, and Seeds going down to Hugo as well. So very nice picks here for the side of Feint Gaming. More than happy to retreat out with their capture and their picks in hand.
Yeah, now it's Operation Keep Vanny Alive. Everyone throwing their lives away from nerdRage, but they don't find the VIP. Vanny will keep himself up and now keeps this advantage. Feint did a great job of just instantly reclaiming that point and getting all the frags they needed to. Once again, finding Nasboy and Seeds very early in the fight, and then perfectly reconsoling around Vanny to take down the counter sacks coming in from Josh and Nubby. So Will nerdRage be able to try and take control of this point once again? The Uber charge does come out straight away, and they find Seeds immediately. That's the perfect Uber for Feint, but they do need to keep their players alive afterwards as well, as Josh barrels forwards, trying to find Opti on the flank here. Nubby also jumping in behind.
Nubby in with the spoon, only just misses it there. Voxy with the deny, just to make sure he can get on top of his medic here. And they do have this capture down still on the side of Feint Gaming. Imagine to drive that clock down now to 1 minute 30. Seeds nowhere near his, Uber, Vanny nowhere near his. It looks like Opti and Hugo are going to be the first ones to make a move here. Directly into the enemy team, being really aggressive here. And they're happy to trade out a soldier for a scout, I think. As More Alexi's going to be all alone with Seeds now, so only one scout on the beam is kind of disastrous on products, as it is a very scout-heavy map. Scout DM known to be the best thing to use on this map. Voxy getting a ton of damage here, and they're managing to box them into this corner here very nicely, as Josh is trying to bomb around behind, make a bit of space for his team, and he causes enough space just from Josh jumping around to get the recapture through. And they're managing to retake this very nicely.
Yeah, having control of that entire flank was Josh, forcing Hugo to come back, but Feint, they don't want to give it up that easily. They already have the point about 90% capped. Gazzy's going to fall down as well. Mac getting put down very low. Hugo and Nubby also taking a 1v1 on the sideline, and Feint recapture the point like it's no problem. Only about 5 seconds of time even going off the clock there for nerdRage.
Very, very nice stuff there from Feint Gaming with a retake there. Very good. As more Alexi going to be trying to get on top of this point again, but Yehor is just there with the aggression. It looks like they're just going to be taking this Uber here. For whatever reason that was, a little bit of a miscommunication there, as Seeds has just retreated out with the rest of the team. Maybe they were going for a trade and a soldier bombed in behind, and that was about it. But Seeds with the Uber, looks like we're going to maybe see a very patented Seeds cliff use, but looks like they are running down for it. But more Alexi just notices there's no players here. It looks like they're about to take the supercharge, but the bombs are coming in now from the red soldiers. Hugo bombing in, and Siege just pops out immediately. And it looks like Vanny might get caught here. Nasper gets the first pipe onto him, but Vanny with the dukes, managing to survive through all of it.
Yeah, that is not a mistake you want to be making as Feint in the last round of this map, where everything's on the line. Just kind of a dud use on point for no reason, gifting a full advantage to nerdRage. And now they are getting forward held. They will need to break out of this one. 2 minutes versus 30 seconds on the clock. They do manage to just get out pretty much for free, not being held particularly tight by nerdRage, but Gazzy has gone behind into spawn. Josh now bombing in, forcing Vanny back into Gazzy's hands. Will he be able to hit the shots? Yes, he does. Gazzy gets that cleaned up, and all the rest of the frags also going nerdRage's way. Can Opti get anything? Oh my god!
There's no way he finds that kill. That's insane that he finds Seeds at the end there. That is the pick that they needed. Vanny is now going to have advantage here. Up to 15% on Seeds respawner. He has got players back from 20% advantage for Feint Gaming here, and they're able to get this capture time down. Stickies are currently on rock. They do get down. Nasboy way too far forwards, gets caught out by Mac. Looks like they're sending in players for Vanny. They do find that pick off, but they don't get the capture through on the side of Feint Gaming very smartly here, so that they can delay for their medic.
Yeah, for those who aren't in the know, attackers get faster respawns, so if they don't capture that, Vanny will respawn faster, and now they can cap it up now that Vanny is respawned. But they are going to wait for Mac as well, and just all this waiting and waiting. It's more time off the clock for nerdRage, more time for nerdRage to get in position, more advantage for Seeds' Uber. It looked like it was going so well for Feint there until Vanny went down, and now they are going to look to reclaim the point. Hugo bombing forwards, getting very, very punished. Opti as well going to get destroyed on the backlines, and Mac just a little bit too out of position for his own good. Everyone on Feint falls one by one. Free recapture for nerdRage, and they maintain this Ubercharge advantage as well. They're going to let Nubby spawn and then cap it up.
So what Ubercharge would that be you're talking about right now? All I'm seeing is a Seeds crit creep. That's all I'm looking at right now. So it is a cheeky crit creep coming out already. They pop it out. It's a sticky off the Yehor, hits him in the face. Voxy is caught in, goes down. 20 seconds remaining on the clock of nerdRage, but Feint Gaming are just going to use out their Ubercharge here, but their players down. They haven't got any scouts on this Uber, so it's going to be very disastrous here. For the side of Feint Gaming, the bombs come in, Mac goes down, they don't have time to wait for him, 9 seconds remaining. Vanny getting bombed here, Nubby going for an air shot, unfortunately misses it, but it looks like they are going to send players towards this point already. Yehor is going in for Opti bombs as well. Good damage on towards Gazzy. They have got players on this point, so it's being contested, but they are managing to get the cap time down though on the side of Feint Gaming. But nerdRage here, very nice recontest. They've got the number advantage. They're going in. More Alexi with the 2-shot on the Voxy. Currently on a 6k. Mac needs to get on top of this point immediately. The cap is going down. Mac tries to get to it. Soldiers coming in desperately. And it's going to be a nerdRage map 1.
Oh my goodness, that was a close final fight at the end. Oh, it looked like there was still chances for Feint to claw their way back into it. And a reminder of how far ahead Feint were in this final round, and so many mistakes just let it rip out of their clutches. Right at the end there, in that Crits versus Uber scenario, I think Feint had a terrible case of poor timing, which meant that they did basically the worst thing they could do. They basically dropped 2 players to the crits, then tried to use the Uber to salvage it, but the Uber couldn't really do anything because they're in a 4v6. I think if they'd used a split second earlier and not dropped those players, or if they had fallen back out and just used the Uber at a later time, either of those would have been fine, maybe given them a chance, but they really did just push the dominoes down on themselves after that, really, and nerdRage doing a great job of converting it.
Doing an incredible job there. So we have been your commentary team. We're going to throw it back to our analyst desk of Turbo and Eames. Hi, boys.
5 rounds. 4 very big questionable plays for Feint Gaming. 3 god-awful puns. 2 meme spoons, and just 1 turnabout play that I just did not see coming. Eames, who are our zeros and who are our heroes in this game?
Well, right off the bat, I think I definitely have to make out the call out for the one big hero of the whole match, which, of course, the casters were drawing your attention to, which was definitely Opti, who played absolutely out of his mind. I mean, I get the stats. We'll see how many times he killed Seeds, but he was making play after play on the flank. Just when you thought that, Feint had lost some kind of DM fight, they sent their Sullies behind, you think, oh, whatever, it's just the Sullies, right? And the rest of the team is dying. But Opti and Hugo came back in this one flank and completely destroyed them, got about 3 or 4 kills between them, and so many other times you would see a situation looking quite questionable for Feint, but Opti comes in and clutches with some absolutely insane rockets on Seeds and some of these fights he had absolutely no right to get, as our casters were mentioning. I mean, it was just impeccable play from him. So he's going to be absolutely feeling heartbroken that they've lost this map, to be honest.
Yeah, just to reiterate to everybody out there, it is going to be a 5-map, grand final extravaganza. So there's plenty more TF2 to come. Don't worry. But this was Feint Gaming's map pick, so they are going to be really feeling that heartbreak. And just to really reiterate that point you made about Opti gunning for Seeds, you have to scroll down to the logs. I know nobody looks at this part of the logs here, and you can see Opti killed that man 10 times. When have you ever heard of a medic dying 10 times in a game of TF2, let alone dying to the same man so many times back to back? But Eames, it was just each round just seemed to look so different from the last. And as the game ramped up in gameplay, the questionable plays started coming out a lot more, and it was looking a lot more questionable on Feint Gaming side than it was on the nerdRage's side. Or am I just seeing the wrong things here?
No, definitely. I think nerdRage are really going to be feeling that they've gotten away with something here. Like in many of these rounds, even the very first one that Feint lost, they were ahead. They had lots of good scenarios that they were in, and they it sort of seemed like they got into this position where they were winning in a round, and they couldn't quite believe it. They couldn't quite believe what was happening. They had Uberad, they had the point, they had time advantage, and they just needed to keep playing normally, but still keep up the aggression when they were doing it. For instance, there was one time, even going back to the very first round, Feint had a huge Uberad on nerdRage, and they had a time advantage as well, holding the point. And nerdRage were coming forward, pressuring the point, pressuring the flank, all this kind of thing. And all Feint needed to do was say, okay, I see you there, I'm going to go in and get frags with the Uber. And that would have been, they didn't even need to kill Seeds with it. They had such a great time advantage. They just needed to have an okay point defense. But instead, I feel like they really got in their own heads, basically, where they didn't want to, having gotten ahead with some very nice coordinated aggression and a lot of really good mids by Feint, they got in their own heads and they wanted to play very, very defensively so that they wouldn't make any more mistakes. But the aggression was working, so they just needed to keep doing what they were doing, and they lost a lot of advantages in this game by sort of trying to, once they got ahead, trying to defend that lead by playing very, very afraid.
Eames, were there any sort of questionable plays that you could defend a little bit for these players? Because when I see these teams losing a demo man or losing 2 scouts and then deciding to Uber in anyway, are these the right calls to make, or are these players kind of just buckling under the pressure and just feeling like they have to press the happy button, that mouse too?
Yes, I think the biggest example of a throw there was right at the end with Vanny popping that Uber after the 2 crits frags, one by Nasboy and one for the scout that was caught in. I mean, it's a very nice play really by nerdRage to go crits there because they really were in quite a desperate situation. And I think the thing about it is that Feint, if you played back this whole map and you went through the demo, Feint were playing better overall, but in these crucial situations, they were making wrong decisions, and nerdRage just put them under pressure in such a way that they eventually cracked there. And basically, if Vanny hadn't popped, they could have gone back to spawn, wait for their spawners. They had enough time. They did not need to use that Uber. And as it was, even having popped, they probably could have gone back to spawn and taken a 6v6 fight, which would have been better. But what they did, they ran in 4v6 with no scouts, and tried to make something of what was never ever going to be a good Uber. So really, unable to cut their losses and make the smarter play there, they just got caught up in the moment and really messed that up. It's very unfortunate for them.
It was a marathon of a game. Not many times do we see Product taken to that 5-round max limit, but at the start there, well, this counts a little bit towards the end, but at the start, the Feint Gaming soldiers were really running away with it compared to the nerdRage soldiers. Did nerdRage just change it up? Did Feint Gaming kind of did those soldiers get controlled a little bit more? What was going on with these soldiers throughout the game?
Well, it did sort of depend, and different times they were getting different opportunities. Certainly, Opti was playing insane throughout. Hugo, not so much, but often that dynamic will play out where one of your soldiers is dying and the other one is making the play. So that's not really too much of a reflection on him potentially. But what we did see, particularly in the first 2 or 3 rounds, was some very poor sack waves from nerdRage, where they would often go one at a time, and we saw Vanny, being pinned around like a pinball, and all these different sacks where it was basically very, very easy because nerdRage didn't really coordinate it properly. It was just extremely easy for them to get cleaned up. But I think later on, the aggression was becoming a bit more synced, and particularly Nasboy was closer to his soldiers when they were going in, so that the aggression was as a team, as opposed to the Solis sort of being aggressive on their own and then getting cleaned up by the rest of Feint.
Now, these scouts as well, just to shine a little bit of light on them, they've all been putting out stellar performances. I wouldn't say anybody really particularly run away until that last round there. And Moralexi, I don't know what happened, if he's just at some sort of sensu beam, or he just kind of at his Wheaties, but he just turned on. I saw him beating 2v1 scouts at one point like that. Is it like this in these grand finals? Do you get the adrenaline pumping at all, or is this guy just talented and a step above all the other scouts right now?
Well, he's certainly very talented. I think you can look at the log. I mean, all of the scouts fairly similar, but Kunu definitely with the best KD. But noticeable is his damage taken to damaged out. A massive, massive disparity there. Whereas the other scouts were very much having to get in, and fight the Solis aggressively, take damage to do their own damage. Whereas Kunu, 187 damage taken on product is very, very low. Although, of course, admittedly, much of that damage was going on to seeds from Opti, and he was then getting free frags on Opti afterwards. So he wasn't doing, it's somewhat of an exaggeration to say he was playing brilliantly because of those frags by Opti. But although to be fair to him, Opti was hitting some crazy rockets, 2 rocketing seeds time and again, which meant that often as a pocket scout you expect your med to at least survive 2, and then the Soli dies. So but nevertheless he did play very well in that game. So.
All right, well, that was our analysis of our product map. We are now going straight into our second map. This is the pick 4 nerdRage. It is going to be CP Granary. We're taking it back on over to Bum and Lucky. Take it away, boys.
Welcome back to our grand finals. We're heading into map number 2, Bum Freeze, pretty much immediately. It's going to be Granary. Fast ball in from Nubby straight away onto Max here, so already getting to the action, back getting super weak here, and cleaned up here. So Nubby goes down, but next boy finds that kill onto Max, so demo round pick for a soldier pick is pretty good if you're on the side of nerdRage, but Seeds on that high ground needs to jump down, and Hugo is coming in for the flank and does pick up Seeds there immediately. So Feint Gaming going to be retreating with Vanny and their scout out of this mid fight. Looks like Yeehaw's going to be left to die, but they do find Gazzy here, but the flank is coming in already. More Alexi wants to commit in. Looks like Nasboy's trying to run it, but he's too weak, cannot get the sticky jump off. And Feint Gaming going to take the first mid basically with that 65% Uber.
Yeah, Hugo now jumping back into the mid. Not going to find anything there, and this is something we've seen a lot recently. Not so much in the season, but in the cups that have been going on. nerdRage really love to do this mid where Nubby insta-sacks for Mac pretty much, and a lot of the time he'll kill Mac, and then Feint will just immediately take down Nubby and win off the mid off the back of it anyway. There's some discussion going on in the chat. It looks like they still have the King of the Hill config on, so the timer currently isn't ticking down. And Feint are just busting in through the choke for free here. They've got a hell of a lot of space. Voxy and Opti, they walk forwards. Voxy's going to go down. Nubby does get taken down though as well, trying to jump forwards and try and stop them. And now Gaz and Josh fighting off in the garage. They do manage to pop off Vanny's Uber. Seeds doesn't have it yet, obviously dying later on mid. Oh, Josh gets that bow just before Yeehaw was able to take him down, and that turns the tide of this fight. There is a frag from Opti onto Seeds, though, once again. Did you forget about me, Seeds?
Did you forget about... Opti's been putting him in the bin, like this whole grand final. Drops the OK in chat as well. That's incredible stuff there from Opti at the tail end of that fight, so doing a real good job in this game already. Seeds going down there is going to gift Vanny that Uber advantage here, but... We also talk about Granary as the 7-point map, you know, because you've got that extra yard area, which just feels like a point all on its own. So able to move out now into this yard, taking the right-hand side, going to be moving in already, making sure they're going to clear out these stickies, and Mac is able to get in through the shutter door. Vanny up to 70% now, so getting fully buffed here and ready to take a push in towards mid.
Yeah, advantage for Vanny. We'll see what Feint can manage to do with it. They've just finished up the building, walking in through the choke. Nubby on the... lamp now jumping straight down, landing onto Vanny, sinks 2 rockets, immediate drop. Nothing Vanny can do there. Nubby also gets away with it. He's in behind and dragging everyone back for him. They're chasing him down, giving nerdRage the perfect opportunity. He even gets out with his life. Nubby escaping through drop down and giving nerdRage the perfect play to get into yard here.
Are you a player of Team Fortress 2? If the answer is yes, and you're playing Granary, make sure you check the goddamn lamp. Like, it's the only spot they're going to be in, and it's incredible here for them as they're moving their way in towards second. Got that one times capture rate down, looks like they do get their flank scout in now, so Gaz is going to be there. They're going to take the super through the left hand side, just popping that one out there. The Sentry currently up on the left hand side, and the Heavy up on the right hand side, so good split here from the side of Feint Gaming here, but they lose Hugo and Yeehaw straight away. Cap time is coming out from these scouts. They have to put players on them immediately, and they're just losing everyone here, unfortunately, on the side of Feint Gaming. They have their players up and alive, but it looks like they're managing to hold here on the side of Feint Gaming. Their respawn is about to come in. Hugo does catch his respawn. It looks like they're sending in one last player as a last-ditch effort on towards Voxy. They pick up that Heavy and they reflood their players back towards the point, but the damage is there. Hugo gets the bomb through. Vanny's surviving through all of this, and Nasboy here gets cleaned up right at the end, and nerdRage there need to count their chickens and get out.
Yeah, Seeds has managed to Scarpa, but Feint managed to just clutch victory from absolutely nothing there. This is probably one of the hardest maps to hold on to the last when you're down that many players as Feint were, but they do just manage to force nerdRage back. Nubby hiding right now on Spy by these crates in yard. He knows it's going to be an evenish situation, so he will have an opportunity to uncloak here. Vanny in the choke, not looking forwards. Has Mac spotted it? Looks like Mac puts 2 pipes straight into his face. Hugo, though, while trying to bust into mid, has fallen as well, so it's a 1-for-1 soldier trade right now. They do split off the Ubers as well, and it looks like it's roughly even in terms of how the Ubers are going, although those picks on the tail end definitely favor nerdRage, ready to rush straight forwards into yard.
That is nasty. More Alexi picking up Mac there in the choke as they're trying to retreat out. He's actually going to buy them second here. I think if Mac doesn't go down, they manage to hold second, but because they lose their demo, no spam pressure, able to push. But it looks like nerdRage, they're heading to last already. They don't want this gun to go up, and they want to send their sacks, and Vanny is out of spawn, so they're just going to get on top of him here, and they do clean him up, and it looks like Seeds is playing a passive position already, so they are managing to escape here, and Nasboy slips out the shutter door, nearly perishing there. But it looks like they managed to keep him alive, and Seeds with this ad, they're going to be able to take a last push most likely with it.
Another critical mistake, managing to let their medic get caught off in a situation where he really shouldn't. Every other player on Feint just on the opposite side of the last point to Vanny, who was just left to fend for himself. And now there is a full Ubercharge advantage up for Seeds. Yeehaw on the Heavy, Voxy on the Sentry. We'll see if it'll be enough. They do pop the Ubercharge out immediately. Nasboy jumping forwards, doesn't get too far, and Moralexi just dies to the Sentry. There's no damage at all from nerdRage so far. Nubby's getting caught off. Nasboy's 1 health, he gets taken down. That was a disaster.
It's not many times I can say it took Nasboy 4 projectiles and 3 stickies to kill a sentry gun. I mean, it's a stationary target, sir. All you need to do is shoot it. But unfortunately, they managed to clean it up, and the heavy on the right-hand side was actually doing so much work there. But losing more Alexi, like you mentioned, at the start of that Uber, very disastrous for them. It looks like they're going to be making their way in towards Yard already, but Nubby once again on the espionage class. This man does not want to leave it alone, but who expects Spy twice? I mean, let's see if Max in the same spot. Looks like he decloaks, though, as he runs out of cloak running at Vanny. Maybe he didn't have view models on for the cloak and dagger.
Yeah, he got very easily caught out there, but it was only about a 25% ad anyway for Vanny, and the amount of time it took Nubby getting caught basically delayed them to be too smart to try and take that push. It would have definitely blown up in their face if they wanted to try and go off an advantage that tiny. So they are just going to let it stay on this even Uber scenario, and something we saw in this team's regular season games where nerdRage did come out on top on Granary was that nerdRage can just bust this off nothing. It's so difficult to actually bust this point, but we just saw Josh would time and time again just launch himself sky high, basically sacrifice himself for the team and let everyone run it in behind him, and it looks like he's getting prepped to do just that. He does make some space through the choke. He goes sky high once again. Nubby in behind him as well. They land straight onto Mac and Vanny. They get the force. Josh trades his life for Voxy. Nubby does a decent amount of damage to Opti on the way out as well, and it's a 2-for-2 trade, and they get the Uber off. So exactly what I was talking about. Josh just initiates for his team, and they manage to convert off very, very little.
That was amazing. Very well coordinated there from nerdRage. Beautiful, beautiful set play coming out there just to get the force off. And there was so much damage down that I did not see a single player on the side of Feint Gaming with above red HP. Looks like they're taking a super down seeds there. Just want to run around this corner and get this demo pick. But Mac is gone with the wind. What a jump from him. Actually escapes out the shutter there and escapes onto last. But he had no business escaping there, dude.
Yeah, he has got to be thanking his lucky stars. Just manages to land on the pipe with 1 HP waiting for that arrow from Vanny, and he did get it. So now they do have an Ubercharge advantage. Granary, one of the better maps for getting off of last with just an Ubercharge advantage, but that's not to say it's easy, of course. Josh putting a bit of pressure onto Yeehaw close. Hugo will take down Nubby, and now the Uber is out. But there's still 2 players in Lunchbox they need to deal with before they're threatening this back cap. They can't really take any more ground, and in fact Feint might not even get second here as Seeds' Uber is up itself.
It looks like they've actually swapped off their NG as well, so, and they lose Mac as well as Gazzy finds the pick there. They have so much cap time down in second, they're banking on Yeehaw getting a back cap here most likely, but he is in top of Lunchbox. He's not going to find anything here. I heard a 2 come out there. It looks like Opti's managed to build an entire banner but dies pretty much immediately, and they get on top of this point here though. It's going to be 1-0 to the side of nerdRage. A very long 10-minute squeaker of a round.
Yeah, just the threat of those 2 nerdRage players standing in the flank was basically what finished it for Feint there. They had to go back, they couldn't chase Seeds forwards into Yard, and then on the way back, Seeds just ends up getting his Uber and converting it. So we're going into a second mid now. We'll see if Nubby tries the same thing again. Looks like he's already going very fast onto Mac. He just steals Mac's pack. Mac doesn't even peek the midpoint this time, so he'll keep himself alive. Josh now the one in the air, and neither team has suffered any casualties so far.
They're trying to make their way forwards here on nerdRage though. They're trying to take this high ground so they can get Josh up into bomb, but Hugo's already in the garage, so he's been denying that one as one comes in for an Opti finds Seeds immediately on this mid-fight, and I think Feint Gaming, they're more than happy to just Delta split out of here and just escape with their Uber ad. 81% already for Vanny on this mid-fight, and he's going to be able to escape all the way out. Looks like the repush is already coming from garage though, and they want to get as many picks as they can. Looks like they're playing the edge of the point, and Nasboy has set up several sticky traps, so they need to be aware of where all these traps are, and they need to clean them out and make sure they don't lose Vanny here as the repush is coming through here. Sticky's currently on point.
Yeah, the lamp was checked, so that's Nubby dealt with this time. The stickies do get debt as well. And a bit of a drinking game for you guys at home. Take a shot every time we say Opti gets Seeds and try not to die. We do have, of course, Vanny still with the Ubercharge advantage after Seeds going down on mid there. And they've managed to convert 2 points so far just off this Ubercharge advantage. Will they go for a third? Seeds only on 60%, so Feint could definitely try and bust into second here as well.
Yeah, using into second here is kind of a weird crux. I mean, you're going to get the point off of using the Uber, but at the end of the day, you will only be using to get the point, because managing to go aggressive in this area is really difficult. And I think Feint Gaming, they want to do neither, in fact. They're just going to do nothing, and they're going to chill out in yard. And looks like Seeds gets a supercharge, and we've got some pressure in towards Lunchbox. Opti goes in for a bomb, but insane damage onto all of these nerdRage players, but unable to find a pick.
Oh my god, Mac just jumped out with a sticky jump and accidentally blind dead on Josh, so that'll at least slow things down a little bit, but with 2 soldiers down, nerdRage have to be busting into mid here. Looks like there'll probably be a trade from Feint to try and delay the spawners and keep things up as long as they can. They do use off first. Seeds does flash a little bit more though. Nasboy now chasing everyone out, seeing if he can sticky off behind them, but there's still all to play for. Moralexi, in fact, seems to be the last one caught in as the rest of nerdRage elect to get out. And now Feint can just bust through here.
Yeah, with that one player diss out, I don't think nerdRage actually want to hold this. They were able to be in a position to hold yard, but they just give it up immediately. They don't want anything to do with this after they lose Moralexi here, and the pressure is continuing from Feint Gaming. Moralexi, pretty much a key player in the defense of that yard area on the shed, so unable to defend that. Vandy's going to get 65% Uber, and Seeds is going to be at 48% respectively here. So both teams just going to get healed up, get ready, and it looks like we're going for a lunchbox bust on the side of Feint Gaming.
Yeah, looks like they're going to try and do the same thing as before. Either get some spam and a sack on Seeds, or double sack on Seeds, which they tried last time. And it didn't work out too well for them, but at the same time it wasn't all too disastrous. They know they can fall back to mid. They don't actually lose a capture point, seeing as they have yard, and it's pretty much a 7 CP map, as we always say. But yeah, just Opti and Hugo chilling around for a while. They are putting a bit of cap time in onto the point as well. Voxy seeing if he can tickle that, maybe a bit of a distraction for a soldier coming in on the flank.
Looks like they're trying to just pressure this point now from the shutter. They're not getting much business done towards Lunchbox. Both soldiers' buffs have both decayed, so they need to get new buffs here. Do have crit heals, so able to get those all geared up. 300 HP on both soldiers, whereas the nerdRage soldiers also sitting at relatively high HP. So if they're going for this, it's basically going to be a trade if they hit all their rockets. But Nubby opting to hold this high ground. Hugo's just trying to get in. Eats 2 rockets immediately, but Opti in on the low ground, going for that low jump in towards Nubby. Does get a lot of damage down, and Josh getting weak as well, but they don't lose anyone in the force attempt there.
Yeah, I think Feint have really been giving away that play for too long. There's a fancy word for it, I can't remember it. But Seeds just absolutely knows what they were trying to do and had his head well underneath the roof by that shutter there, and both scouts directly in front of him. They weren't going to fall for that. It was a bit too kind of not greatly thought out for Feint, but they do have another play in the works.
Nubby.
Yeah.
Yeah, I spotted it. I saw him on the conch. I was like, this man, he's been standing up top, basically AFK. You know, just shooting rockets, not really taking too much damage, may as well build a banner. That's kind of the headspace that you're in when you play on Granary. I mean, Granary is known to be the slowest map in Team Fortress competitive. It's just the way the map is. Everything is doorways slow, and if you try and bust something too hard, likelihood is you're going to get stuffed in a choke and die. Opti going in, trying to make a sack attempt happen. Nice stuff, manages to get in nice and deep, but unfortunately clean up immediately there as Gazzy finds the frag. And the rebust is trying to come here from nerdRage. Looks like they want to get really aggressive with this. I think Nubby's been building that banner relatively well, as well as Josh with the battalions back up as well, so there's that slight HP advantage here. And Nasper's going to be peeking here on Z. Unfortunately, he's not going to find anything, and we're just going to see a bit of a reset here, as Gazzy is actually currently up on the espionage class. I think he's just checking for off classes, though.
Yeah, he knew that someone went down. He was checking to see if they switch on to any funny off classes, but no, Feint are just playing it very, very vanilla so far, and nerdRage, on the other hand, do have this double banner play ready and waiting. Basically, the longer Feint take, the more they're going to be punished at the end of this. They do find Josh on the flank, and they are getting a hell of a lot of damage in. They're just pressuring from all sides. Oh, Mac! Oh, thank God he keeps himself alive, because if he gets chased successfully by Gazzy there, it could have been very dangerous. He was the only player on that door area, but Mac is just trash-talking in chat. Opti in with a sack. Not going to find Seeds this time around, but at least Feint have secured themselves second.
Don't try it, you might hurt yourself. I love Mac, man. He's incredible. That's insane. Yeehor taking the high ground in second as well, so unable to re-push through that top area, and Gazzy's more than happy to go back on his engineer class. He's going to go sit back, build up that sentry gun, ready for that last defense that they've got going on here. Opti up on the spy, and he's going to be spy checking, making sure that they don't have anything funny. But the thing is, the caveat of checking when you're on offense is that they are next to spawn. They can change whenever they like. That's, you know, that's just how it is. I think they were just checking for a sniper or something though. But they can get really aggressive here. Nasboy's going to be clearing up stickies using his melee as well. Very interesting strategy, as they're managing to get good damage down onto him as well. Hugo nearly peeks the door as well. And unfortunately, Hugo getting weak here as well. Josh going down there on the flank as well. Nasboy getting peeked once more. So one player now up for the side of Feint Gaming. And this is going to open up some kind of opportunity for a set play.
Yeah, that was kind of weird what nerdRage were doing there, basically having Josh in one door and a demo in the other. More Alexi obviously wins the sniper fight, man. Do you know how long this guy's been playing sniper? Just takes down Yeehor instantly as he tries to peek open that door, and now that he does manage to get a wider angle, he's playing on this shutter, seeing if he can see anyone, but Feint are too wise for that. And they find Nasboy. This was what I was just about to talk about, is Nasboy has been playing with fire near that spawn door. I knew if anyone just peeked around that corner, they could very easily pick him up, and they do so with the air shot from Hugo. Opti will go down, sacking in versus a sentry, so that's not usually going to work. And things are going to remain even for a while.
I don't know what was sadder, Nasboy not decking the stickies above Hugo's head or the air shot itself. They were both pretty sad. But Yeehor here pushing up on the left-hand side on towards Anobi, forcing him out here. We're just seeing the to and fro that is Granary. The slow grind of who can break each other's spirit first. Because I feel like it's not the players that make mistakes, it's their souls that make mistakes. Because they just lose the will to live after you play so much Granary. Because it's just that goddamn slow.
I mean, it's slow, but I feel like there's things that can be done. There's other maps where you Opti with the direct hit and banner attempt there didn't work out. There's maps where you feel a lot more hopeless, I think. Sunshine, I think, is probably as slow or more slow than Granary in that regard. And there is a lot of damage, you know, being traded into and out of second constantly. And with those two soldier picks, Opti still down, Hugo now falling, nerdRage should be able to try and take a little bit of ground.
Yeah, it looks like they are actually managing to get some pressure down on the side of Feint Gaming. It's just Voxy actually in on second, but with this direct hit, I know the theory that he used before, but this time around he's not using Battalion's backup. Opti's on buff banner. This is a play. I mean, I can get behind it, but if you're using buff banner, you don't have those passive buffs of the HP regen or the extra HP, and you have to deal more damage in order to get those mini crits. So opting to go for that direct hit, just to get the extra damage, may be a good play. But I feel like if you're spamming on pipe, you're going to get the damage anyway. But if it does manage to come out, it should be a relatively easy force into seeds with those mini crits.
Yeah, and I think also with how close to the doors these players are playing, Opti might be just hoping he can get a cheeky one-tap. They do take the gun down and lose two soldiers for it from combined spam of Nubby and Josh. Now, the banner is popped as well, or at least being held for now, as it looks like nerdRage, are they even trying to get towards the point? They do release the banner, and now that's when they start to edge forwards, check every nook and cranny for any hiders, just get control of the second point. Mac is trying to put some damage in onto the point, but he's taking a hell of a lot of damage. Josh will manage to survive with some...
Hugo in from behind, slams absolutely everyone there as they need to retreat out inside of nerdRage with their two players. Everyone else is on a 9-second respawner because they went down at the same time. Nubby still has this banner going on though, has got that contra, he's got that move speed and the lifesteal. But unfortunately here, their Uber is about to fade. The Uber comes out from Vanny here. They're trying to get on top of Mac, but it looks like the respawners are coming through. It's going to be an even fight, but to get the capture time down, it's going to be 1-1. Hugo with a mega play there.
Man, I don't even know what or how Hugo managed to do what he did, but maybe he's getting a bit jealous of Opti getting all the limelight. Just an amazing play to break out of that stalemate and get us straight into this 1-1 round. And this is good for Feint. I wasn't expecting them to be doing too well on this map. They obviously lost to nerdRage on it before and dropped points, managing to lose it to Global Clan, who is a team that we expected to be a lot weaker than they are. So this is going to be good for their hopes of staying in this grand final right now. Neither team, once again, man wanting to make the first move. Nubby doesn't go instantly fast this time. Both teams are just kind of waiting each other out. Opti does displace Josh from the high ground just for a second. And Opti will find Moralexi as well, and they're just converging. Feint finding all the frags on all parts of the map. Yeehor onto Seeds. Can Nubby stop it off? Seeds is so weak. There is a chase now from Opti as well. If anyone can do it, we know he can. Seeds does defend himself with the arrow. Can he get into spawn?
Max in! They force out
use
the
Uber!
Uber! Oh, this is disastrous. Moralexi though, he's man-moding it. He's got his balls out. He's put them on the table and he's put them in Max's mouth. Unfortunately, getting absolute teabag, but Opti is there onto Seeds. They clean him up right at the end there. Drops the lol in chat and Vanny escapes with his full Uber.
And who else would it be to find him in the end? Although it's not all too bad for nerdRage there. Maybe it could have been worse if Vanny actually used his own Uber. Maybe they catch nerdRage there. This is one of these toss-ups. I don't know which one was the correct call. But at the end of the day, Feint have to go all the way back to mid, cap this up. Now they're walking it through into yard, and they will definitely be looking to get second at least here with this Supercharge advantage. 80% over Seeds at its highest point.
Looks like they're heading in towards Lunchbox pretty much immediately here with Vanny. Probably the best place to go if you want to take for free into this point, and they are just moving up on this high ground. No stickies above this doorway, just 2 soldiers going to be spamming out here. If they want to take this Uber on to last, Seed's already up to 80%, so they've got a lot of ground to cover with the rest of this
Josh
advantage. And Opti in, gets on top of Josh, gets that frag. Hugo getting on top of Nubby as well. Good damage onto him, really weak on this low ground here, getting spammed at. Nubby is begging for an arrow, does eventually receive it, and the pick comes out from Moralexi, flanking onto Hugo, but the capture does go through for Feint Gaming as the Ubers are going to even out.
But they check Yeehor. Yeehor was kind of in a one and done spot, and he does get forced out of it. That could have been critical if they managed to take him down, but they don't. He slivers out, and now Feint still in with a say on second here. They could try and trade here to stop it going through, or just see if they can rely on a huge play. They do take out this trade, immediately used onto Nasboy. Doesn't favor either team, really. I mean, it's minusculely better for Seeds. But yeah, it looks like we're just going to even up at the end of the day. Opti on last! Opti on last!
Opti gets it! Opti with the pain train! Opti has been playing out of his goddamn mind and gets the air shot onto the player to deny him there, trying to get onto last. Opti is so manly, that's insane!
The air shot to deny it. Opti, it's like a cliche at this point. He is a god in this grand final. He is going to drag Feint across the line, kicking and screaming. As we do get into our 4th round, there's not much time left. 6 minutes. nerdRage wants to stage a comeback ASAP here.
Looks like Feint Gaming once again going to be deploying the same strategy. Opti is hiding around that corner. Hugo now going in towards Seeds as well. Opti is on top of him. Good damage onto Seeds. They do manage to clean up there. Hugo finds that kill. And Vanny is just out of this mid. Once again deploying the same game strategy. Get Seeds and get out as Mac finds a cleanup frag on the fadeaway there. On towards Nubby as well. Massive stuff.
Yeah, every single mid. Seeds going down. Vanny managing to get out alive. It's not always ended up in Feint winning the mid, but it's always ended up with them having an advantage to reclaim it very shortly, whether or not they do win. And that is the exact scenario they want to be in. I mean, if they can get it to the other end of the map, get nerdRage on their last, like they've been so successful in doing so far, the time is against nerdRage. And as you've been saying, it's not an ideal scenario on this 7CP map to be down around and stuck on your own last. Nubby was hiding on the lamp, tries to sink Vanny like we saw earlier, but now Hugo will take the space through. There's not much following up though. Feint were just kind of like sitting ducks in that corner, willingly taking the spam for so long. Got to be a little bit more proactive here, because Seeds is just drudging his Uber slowly but steadily up to 100%. And now, what was the point of even getting that advantage in the mid-fight if you haven't used it?
Just like they're deploying the same strategy on nerdRage here, just going to be bombing in towards Vanny there, but I'm unable to find the force onto him again with this. Good damage down once again, but they're going to manage to clean them up this time around. Looks like they were prepared for it. And they do find 2 soldiers, and 2 soldiers is the pick you want when you're going to be pushing back towards mid. And Naspo's going to be holding down this choke on his own. He does down his sticks, so he's got no sticks close now. I'm managing to push him back here, but Naspo doing a really, really good job of just making sure they're unable to get back in this mid and make a recontest happen.
Yeah, looks like Feint have finally managed to put a stopper on that strategy that's been so perfect for Josh so far. Nubby now in with a sack, trying to get that little bunny hop frag with the Market Gardener, but then Vanny, out of position from running away from him, does allow him open to that easy 1 rocket force from Josh. Seas just kites it entirely as well. These players are throwing their lives away. Why Feint? Why they try and chase down this Uber? They do get it out of Seeds, and in fact, I say that they've lost all their players, but the back cap is happening on mid.
Is it going to go?
Players.
Gazzy's running back for it. They're trying to get on top of it. The 4 times capture rate does go through. They get the back cap. That's pretty huge, actually, coming out from them. They're going to be able to get a couple forward spawners, and they nearly kill Seeds. Seeds went down to 30 HP there, nearly dying, and they're going to get Vanny on a forward spawner as well. So Hugo managing to get on that sniper class, does swap off now on towards Soldier, is going to get those crit hills off the forward spawn, but Seeds only up with a 50% Uber advantage. I say only. There's going to be enough for them to push on towards last, but because it's Granary, you know, they've got to go through the second point here. And the second point is notoriously hard to get through. They have got these stickies up on Lunchbox, so if they do get a good det off, they might be able to pick up Seeds here.
Yeah. And Seeds is just going to take it from the front. Instead, it looks like not go for the speedy route. They'll just take it the slow and steady way, and I think that's the right call. Vanny already on 60%. There's a sentry gun on last. There's a heavy as well. Yeehor in the spawn door. I'm still not sure that was the right play from Feint on mid to throw away so many players trying to get onto Seeds there. Sure, it denied a bit, but...
Heading in towards last, we've got the Ubers out, getting on top of the sentry gun here. Looks like Voxy's gun is still alive. They only just kill it now. They have to use an entire Uber. Josh tries to go on top of Vanny, but the heavy is there on 450 HP, so unable to be fragged, just picking players out of the sky. And they're sending Hugo in behind on top of Seeds. Huge damage, but they don't quite find that frag right at the end. Able to keep their players all nice and alive. Vanny with 100% Uber charge here. So it looks like they're going to be able to push out of last, but I don't think they're going to do it. They're going to hold on last. They don't want to give nerdRage a chance. 2 minutes remaining on the clock here, so nerdRage here on a little bit of the back foot when they're 1 round down.
Yeah, this is not a nice position. This is a very permeable way of getting in right now, but now nerdRage do actually back up for just a second, and that will allow this sentry gun to go back up. And we've just seen episode 2 of Nasboy try and kill a sentry in an Uber challenge. He's failed twice already. It's not looking too good for him so far. Josh sacking in, just trying to get a distraction while Gazzy plays the point, but they both fall. The sentry and the scattergun will take them both down. Hugo in with a counter sack, won't find anything either. I don't know why you'd even be counter sacking at this point. You just kind of want this 1 minute 20 to go your way. Don't give them any chances. Don't give them any frags. Now the spawners are up. Gazzy on spy, maybe just checking for an off class.
I mean, oh, a headshot, very nice. That's going to slow him down a little bit. You're losing nothing, but Gazzy has committed to this spy play. I mean, using spy is a very slow crawl. You've got 1 minute remaining on the clock. Josh gets headshot as well. Yeehor landing off those heads, but Gazzy going to be moving in towards last. He's currently cloaked up, recharging that cloak. I think he might go for a sap on the gun. I feel like that's the play they're going to go for here. They pop out this Uber, and they're just going to take the trade here up on this left-hand side. Gazzy is nowhere near in position. They're going to get these Ubers out of the way to make this last push happen in the next 30 seconds, Bumfries.
Yep. Gazzy in with the stab. He gets the engineer. That's all he'll get, and he gets the gun down as well. Now the dry repush coming in from nerdRage. It's a 5v5. Gazzy has fallen. Opti playing on the high ground. Gets air shot down out of the sky by Nubby. Yeehor just trying to block them on the point. He does eventually get bombed. Mac, Hugo, they both collapse, and they manage to keep it alive. 2-1 is the score. We're going to our third map, of course, but now the series is 1-1. Very good job by Feint to keep it alive on a map they maybe weren't expected to win. Both teams now taking each other's map pick.
GG is the call from Feint Gaming. They will win this map 2-1 on Granary. Not on their map pick here, like you just mentioned, Bumfries. Looking very solid, though, overall. Their performance was pretty clinical for most of this game, but I'm sure that, you know, our analyst desk are going to be able to break it down a lot more. Boys, what did you think of this game?
Well, I did not expect to see this happening. Usually when somebody chooses their map, straight out of the get-go, Eames, they think that this is our best chance to win at the game, and both teams are both incorrect on this regard. Is this common?
No, not at all. And it's very interesting, actually, because in many of the grand finals that we've seen in the past, I don't know, probably the past 5 or 6 seasons, in fact, they've almost always been very one-sided. Which I think I might have cut out there for a second. Sorry.
Yeah. It's fine. I'm speechless too. It is a beautiful turnabout from these last 6 seasons. But go on, get your point out. Yeah.
So usually the grand finals go, one team takes the first map, and then they're kind of feeling themselves, and they feel a bit dominant. They make some slightly more aggressive plays, and they just kind of win it out. But not so. So we've had maps traded, and Feint really weren't losing the fighting spirit. They had it on Product, and for a second, as I mentioned in the previous bit of analysis, Product, they were playing very well. They were making lots of good plays, but they were kind of choking out rounds by making lots of little mistakes, kind of by being not confident enough to just secure the win. I mean, I was afraid for them for a bit because they went 2-1 up with some very nice plays. Okay, with the Hugo crazy play from Zed getting like a 3K, absolutely destroying them on second, and then they take last, and Opti with the back up. So they were 2-1 up, plus they won mid, and they were really feeling themselves. But at that point, they didn't push back into mid with full ad. Okay, and that's because. And that suggested to me that they were going to be choking things away by being very, very defensive, very, very afraid of nerdRage, really not looking to take any risks. But in fact, that can often be the undoing of a team, can make them kind of choke because they don't take the opportunities that they would normally take. But they managed it. They took the wise decisions, basically, and crucially, they clutched it out right at the end with a very, very nice last hold from Mac, in fact, because that could have been quite sketchy, and it's really, it's quite a shock to your system when you suddenly lose your NG on a hold like that. But Mac hit some crazy shots at the end to really hold it down. So yeah, it was very pleasing to see Feint hold on to their lead this time.
I took part of the casters challenge there. At some point, they suggested I should take a drink every time Opti goes on top of seeds there, but it was quite a choky map, and I'm feeling a bit thirsty here, Eames, and I don't really see too much of that. But Opti, though, if he couldn't go for the med, he went for the point. He went for the point play, and it was actually the match-winning play. How are you tilted after that in a grand final game if you're nerdRage to lose out on your map to that sort of cheese?
I think perhaps, but I definitely wouldn't have called it cheese. I think even, in fact, the fight was going pretty poorly for nerdRage in front. Nasboy had just died to Voxy in that trade. But, it was a very nice read from Opti on that pain train, making the play through upper there. I think it was upper. But I think it was interesting because we saw, there's very much grand finals. We saw Nubby going spy twice in unexpected situations. Opti going on the direct hit buff banner, both soldiers on nerdRage on banners, so lots of these gimmicks coming out, but at the end of the day it didn't really come down to any of the gimmicks, particularly other than the pain train backcap, which is not really a new technology that's been around for a long time, but it's these crucial moments where, nerdRage was just getting far too aggressive on the shutter with this play from Hugo, and just completely blind to the fact that there's 2 doors to that area, and Hugo comes in behind them and absolutely destroys them.
I did like that one particular play with the battalions back up where Josh was they were almost trying to sneak the point and just play off a bit the fact that they were a lot more tankier. And I thought it was going to work for a second, but then they had that soldier flank from behind. But anywho, we are going to a third map, and it was always part of the plan because it's a 5-map extravaganza, baby. So there's no longer match point for nerdRage, however. So it is going to be just a fight for the advantage, really, and then we're going to have to play another map. Does the fatigue and the marathon sort of pace of this grand final ever get to these players, Eames? Can you get tired playing so much of TF2?
Yes, I think you can, certainly. Or at least you can lose concentration in certain moments, and I think we do see that occasionally. But this is a really, really key map now. I think you could get demoralized more than tired. And that often happens, when you feel like nothing's working, you feel like there's nothing you can do, and you start trying to make, more risky plays than you would normally make, and that just compounds the error usually. But I don't think either team is going to be particularly demoralized. I think Feint probably is playing better overall. They would have been still feeling pretty aggrieved to have lost Product. So, you know, they're feeling very confident. We see particularly Mac typing a lot in chat at the moment. Every time he's getting a frag, he's clearly absolutely loving this, which is nice to see. Definitely not like upset or anything by the fact that they did lose product, even though it was pretty close. So, and also I think added to that, you know, nerdRage are the favorites here, or at least most people will think them to be. And so there's a lot more on the line for them if they lose. And added to that again, in fact, so the final that I was talking about, which was between nerdRage and Swift, but with a different roster, it had Seeds, Nubby, and Nasboy versus Kunu and Yihor. Okay, so a very interesting dynamic here, and Josh, in fact, was with Kunu and Yihor. So it's sort of a rerun of that, but with different teams. But notable is that in that final in particular, Nasboy and Nubby had a very tough time. Really not being able to get into the game very much, and Seeds as well, in fact. And I think similarly in this one, you know, Kunu's been the real driver of most of the things happening for nerdRage, with, you know, Nasboy's just kind of there, more or less.
Oh, good. Don't do him dirty like that, Eames. Jesus.
Well, yes. Whereas, but what I mean is that the plays, you know, the DM style that nerdRage play is more sort of, can any player on our team make something happen with their DM at a given point? Whereas Feint, they're more going for coordinated plays. You know, can we send can we send Hugo in through Z and all collapse on it? Or can we all, you know, pressure block the cap so that Hugo can go behind, so that Opti can go behind rather? They're doing things as a team more, whereas nerdRage, they're more sort of, can one individual player make something happen? And when in these tight games, the team play is usually going to win out.
All right, so now we're heading into process. Is there anybody that's going to particularly pop off on this map, or someone we should keep our eye on going into this sort of matchup on this new ground?
Well, I do think that we've just got to keep our eyes on Opti because he's been playing absolutely insanely. Although that said, process will be probably his hardest challenge so far on Roma, as of course Kunu is very, very good at getting the reads on the enemy soldiers and chipping them down with his excellent aim. So I would say Opti's still one to watch as he's been doing so well, but probably. And yes, probably the Opti versus Nubby matchup will be very interesting to see. I don't think Opti runs Market Gardener, whereas Nubby likes to. I think we saw him. Well, he got one crazy spoon on product memorably, but wasn't able to do. And he did get the very, very nice drop on Vanny in choke on Gran. So he has been making these occasional crazy plays, but Opti a little bit more consistent perhaps with them. So interesting matchup here between the two Rimmers.
So with this map going underway, it does mean the next map's going to be Sunshine. And I remember you touching upon it, saying that's a pretty big map for Feint Gaming. So in theory, nerdRage need to win this map to have a good chance going into that Sunshine map.
Yes, I suppose. I mean, they are very similar maps, but I expect, to be honest, both of these maps are going to be extremely close, and neither team is tilted, is going to be demoralized, even if they lose. Perhaps if they lose 5-0, then maybe they would be, but I don't foresee that happening at all. So I don't think the scores on the maps are going to affect each other too much in this situation, because both teams are really in it for the long haul, for the fight. So you know, it's whoever makes the best plays in you know, the given scenario, basically.
Yeah, but aren't people scared of the Feint Sunshine? Isn't the Feint Sunshine quite a formidable thing? No, is that just me? Am I just
well,
hearing?
they did beat them, nerdRage, on it in the season quite comfortably, actually.
Oh, right, wow.
And in fact, nerdRage beat them conversely on Granary. So that is, yes, nerdRage, Feint are definitely going to be feeling good here.
Oh my god, boys, I'm embarrassing myself. Take me out of it. Lucky, boom, get me off here.
We're back, baby! Back in the driver's seat here, Bumfries, heading into our map number 3 of this series. Heading into the process here, Bumfries. We're seeing Nubby with a fast rollout immediately into choke. Looks like Mac has already scuffed his rollout so bad that he doesn't want to fight against Nubby here, but the bomb's already up to Nasboy. Gets pinged around and absolutely murdered against the wall there. So it's looking like a really good start to the mid-fight here if you're on the side of Feint Gaming. No demo now to deal with, and Nubby's going to be sitting in this corner. They do know he's there, though, and they're going to be taking individual sides with one-player advantage, basically, to each player. So they're going to be heading in here as they send Nubby in really high towards Mac. Mac is getting isolated here. They do manage to lose Opti as well, so losing 2 here on the side of Feint Gaming. They do eventually lose 3, and Vanny's going to be escaping here with Voxy out of this mid.
Yeah, it was a nice try, but there is a potential sync bomb from Hugo, but it gets very easily shut down. And Vanny actually falls on last. I didn't even notice Gazzy chasing, goes all the way back and takes down Vanny. That is going to be huge. This could be a round in less than a minute or so. I mean, Seeds already has 100%. They're going to be able to capture up second almost instantly. Yeehor immediately onto the Engineer and Voxy on Heavy to see if they can slow this one down. But that's such a late death from Vanny. That could be a disaster.
Yeah, it looks like they're sending in players immediately. Mac is only just getting in the shutter, hits the Vanny bind though, so he is going to survive. They are clearing these stickies off the point, they get players on it, and they get the Soldier Bomb through. Hugo going down though, unfortunately, the Sentry Gun also going down. Ops is going to get cleaned up on this point, so no soldiers available for the reblock here, so they're just going to commit fully to this point. Nobody gets off it, and they get the capture time down. It's going to be 1-0 for nerdRage, looking very comfortable in this map.
Yeah, that was incredibly fast, and from the very start of the mid, it looked like it should have gone Feint's way. I mean, nerdRage did this fast rollout to try and capture Mac. Mac just outplayed it by hiding in his own choke, and then they did their own slightly delayed fast bomb to pick up Nasboy, but they just didn't convert that. Nubby this time has gone fast once again, but he's in behind. He went through sewers. He does look like he's going to get taken down here, but there's no room for Feint on the entire mid. They've all gone back. They're kind of clustered around their own choke, allowing lots of space for nerdRage. Hugo with a bomb forwards just to make the space, scare people back, and allow his teammates to kind of scatter. And from there, immediately, nerdRage get forced back out.
Feint Gaming did a very, very nice play there when they managed to get back in. They peeled both their scouts off just to get the players off of the high ground, and they were able to maintain the momentum through choke. So they got Vanny in. He didn't eat a lot of damage. The spam really wasn't there from the side of nerdRage there. Being one soldier down, you are losing a spam class. So unfortunately, they couldn't get anything done there. But we are going to see the first of a couple stalemates, more than likely. 1-0 currently the scoreline, but 27 minutes remaining. So a very, very long time to go in this map. So looks like neither team going to be slowing down anytime soon. Likely to see a sack attempt coming out of Feint Gaming coming very soon. Both soldiers already getting buffed.
Yeah, I mean, when you see the number of rounds on average we've had, you know, having a 1-0 advantage immediately off the back in like 2 minutes is going to hang around for nerdRage. It's a very, very good advantage to have early on in the game. And Feint, as you say, they need to be the ones making the move here, but they're not really doing anything. They're so far back.
Back to spawn. Yeehor ran across the entire map to go back to spawn to go on sniper. This man is sniping from his own choke on mid. He does not want to peek. I'm fairly certain he doesn't want to get healed, because then you let out the sniper voice line and then they know you're on sniper. So he's going to be peeking this cheeky angle here just above these crates very slowly, just peeking around. The dot against the wall, very clever stuff from him, just to make sure that they don't know there's a sniper in the midst. But nerdRage, they're going to sit on the high ground. They're doing the Spire defense, where you put your entire team on the high ground.
Yeah, they're just not falling for this at all. I mean, they want to bait someone to look at choke and then get a free pick from there, but instead they're going to have to opt for the other option when you have a sniper, which is to kind of take control of sewer, kind of threaten some peaks from there. But Yeehor isn't really in position. The rest of his team has sewer. He's going to rotate over there now to kind of join them, and now he'll be able to take a peek while Hugo opens the shutter, see if Yeehor can find an angle.
There is one thing that this does a lot of, though, and it's a really risky play. If they're holding the high ground like this, and they're constantly bombing onto Yeehor, Nubby with a beautiful sink. They could have sent someone through choke. It was basically free. But oh well, they lose Yeehor here, so nerdRage is going to be an opportunity here to send a counter sack through. But Mac, he's sticking up this choke. Nubby's going to be going in, and is absolutely scuffed. He just gets air shot by 2 players and dies.
Yeah, Nubby immediately taken down on the counter sack. But yeah, as you say, it's never ideal trying to do... Oh, Gazzy getting found actually could change things a lot here, and Josh tried to bomb Mac and just got punished for it. An instant pike from Mac allows that to get followed up on the jump out by Voxy, and now there's 2 players still down. Second's going to get capped up. They're already moving in towards lobby to see what they can do. Maybe deny a sentry from being built here, just to be able to kind of keep it permeable, keep it so they're able to move into last whenever they want to. Yeehor trying to take a peek through 5, see what he can see.
Gazzy's currently up on the Pyro. You know, this is a classic now from nerdRage. They feel so comfortable with Gazzy on Pyro that they feel like all other off classes are completely redundant. And I don't think Kuno is that kind of player to play NG here, as he just gets a banny bind off so he can get his crit heals back. And it looks like they're just going to be holding here. But Yeehaw up on that sniper, pretty good against the Pyro all in all, since the detonator and scorch shot bans. So you can't tag him off with those flare guns, so that he won't be able to scope in on you and deal the damage that's necessary.
Yeah, and this is really the signature of nerdRage, particularly on this map it seems. Most teams here, they have a sentry gun up in the middle, it stops all counter-attacks, but nerdRage wants to be able to switch from defense mode to offense mode at a moment's notice, and Pyro, you can kind of do a bit of both. There is a sack from Hugo, he does get Seeds down very low, but Seeds is a master of his timings. He knows Hugo can't reload that one in time. He's not going to shoot me a second time. I've got plenty of reason to just hold on to my Uber and get resupply.
Yeah, looks like they're going to try and send the counter-sack here, but Josh immediately receives a pipe to the noggin, so not going to go anywhere here. More Alexi trying to peek that high ground, but can't quite see anyone there, and is just going to rotate back and towards the last, get healed up. And Yeehaw has decided he's sticking to his sniper, going to be peeking on one here. No one's actually watching these sticky bombs, but Nasboy goes for the repeat. They do spot him out now, and they see him there, but Nubby here trying to get aggressive in towards rollout, unable to find any space as well. So just once again, the toing and throwing. I can't help but think that not having the dispenser armor against a sniper is a good idea.
Yeah, I think Seeds has had too many situations where he can't possibly be headshot, as I believe the famous quote goes, and he's been headshot, so he's just chilling out without a dispenser or sentry to hide him for now. And this is really pinpointing how nice it is to have a round so quickly. When we fall into these scenarios where, you know, teams can spend ages hitting their head against a brick wall trying to get a round, just being 1-0 off of the presence of one kill that you got in the first round and just going up 1-0 in 2 minutes, it's really, really frustrating to be faint in this scenario, trying to break in now. And as we were just saying that nerdRage don't like to do, they've fallen back in line with the meta. The sentry is directly in the middle, the dispenser's going up.
Moral Alexi refuses to swap off of sniper. He just sits there on the sniper. He doesn't want to play any other class. He wants to play scout and sniper, and that's the only ones he wants to play. And Opti now going to be peeking up on 5, trying to get the spam down to the sentry gun. They do manage to take it out here, so he's sitting by his dispenser. Needs to really sit inside of it though. Matt getting really weak into his lobby as well. Oh, apologies for radiocast, guys.
we are radiocasting for a while. Opti in takes down the level 1 sentry with his sack. Yeehaw tried to peek at the same time, but that didn't really work out. Looks like nerdRage aren't doing much. They're just rebuilding this sentry gun on last. Feint have fully scarpered onto second. It's still a 5v6, but Opti is going to be respawning any second now. And Josh actually has a full battalion's backup, so they could try something with getting in on second here.
Unfortunately, you're in for a long radio cast, ladies and gentlemen, as our production team is having some relative problems here. After, you know, the game seems to be relatively scuffed. You know, you've got all these high definition things for you lovely viewers to look at, but you're not missing a whole lot. I mean, sentry gun is going down here. Opti's getting geared up, ready to go for something. It's going to be bombing in with Hugo. Hugo gets in there.
Opti running in. He backstabs Seeds, gets the drop onto Seeds. And now there's 2 down. Hugo sacked at the same time, so Hugo and Opti are dead for Feint so far. But on the other side, obviously nerdRage have lost their medic. And Vanny just gets sniped by Kunu anyway. This is a disaster. What looked so good for them has now ended up with both medics dropping back to back, and Feint with more players down than nerdRage.
Josh has also decided he's going to pop a banner, but nerdRage not quite off their last yet. They're going to be trying to re-peek through lobby now, and the defense is basically there from Feint Gaming. They're going to be back in choke, but they use the banner, they get in towards second, and this battalion's backup going to be blocking these headshots coming out from the sniper here, as we're back, ladies and gentlemen, on the stream as well, which is good. They're sending in the soldiers really deep, trying to get out to Seeds, but Opti currently manages to get in behind. Nasboy gets immediately headshot, though, as soon as the banner fades. and they're able to get the damage down on the side of Feint Gaming to repel most of this push, but the capture going through here. Nasboy, the only casualty, just going in for a bomb, picks up Mac, also gets the shot onto Boxy just to clean him up. They get on top of all these players, and they manage to clean up the entirety of Feint Gaming.
Yeah, and I mean, it looked good what Feint were managing to do installing the second, but no matter how good it looks, you have to then acknowledge the fact that afterwards Feint are going to be there with a sniper, whereas nerdRage are going to have actual classes suited for fighting things, and they just collapse immediately. Yeehaw has very little impact, Mac gets picked off, Voxy falls from there, and everything, just the dominoes fall, and we end up in this scenario with the Uber coming straight in onto last, full Uber charge advantage. Sentry gun's already down, but there's no cap time. They found Hugo, and the banner is popped as well, but now they do start to walk towards the point. This banner, denying so much damage, makes it so easy to just stand on the point and tank it, as they do take a second round here, nerdRage, back to back from last to last. And may I remind you that this started with Seeds dropping, in fact. Seeds' drop led to this chain of events where Seeds' team wins the round.
A very rare occurrence where Siege actually drops an Uber as well, but heading into our next mid-fight, 2-0 currently the scoreline. nerdRage headed in this game, and it looks like they're very confident now in this mid-fight, with Nubby taking a high bomb pretty much immediately. You guys up on this right-hand side though, on the low ground, in a very poor position. Matt getting bombed as well. You guys going to be bombing around there in towards the enemy choke, but it looks like the collapse has come through. Gazzy whiffed all the shots on Vanny, but the cleanup is there from Nubby at the end, and Seeds is all the way across the point, but Opti picks the shutter. Good damage onto Seeds, and they managed to clean him up there, so Yeehaw finishing off that frag. Finding the medic at the tail end of this fight is massive, but Hugo here is going to be fighting against all these players. All the players are weak apart from Moral Alexi here, who managed to got a pack, and eventually Nasboy with the long range pipe to clean them up, and it's going to be nerdRage taking away with a wipe on Feint.
Yeah, I mean, Vanny just ended up cornered with a scout staring him down, and despite Gazzy missing a hell of a lot more shots than he should have done, everyone trying to kill Gazzy also was. And from there, you know, Vanny just pinned down in a corner is basically a big target on his head saying, soldier bomb here and you'll get a free frag, no matter whether this scout can hit a shot or not. And once Vanny was down, yeah, everything just kind of went nerdRage's way from there. But it's not curtains yet for Feint. Even Uber's roughly, Seeds has built it a little bit better. Nubby on the sniper, and there's still 17 minutes left in the game.
Nubby Sniper, something you got to worry about. When you put this man on a skill-based class where he's got to land those shots, you can count your lucky stars if you don't get headshot by him. This man is insanely consistent as a sniper. Going to be peeking around and making sure he's clearing out the sewer area if he wants to take up on sewer. Vanny now finds his Uber charge, so both teams going to be setting up, getting ready. Looks like Vanny's going to be ulting for the same defense as nerdRage were deploying, sitting on that high ground, making sure no sniper can peek him at all. Yeehaw's just going to be running in here through choke. Does notice the space is there. I think he spotted out the sniper as well.
Yeah, I think they've known about the sniper for a while, but thank God for arrows. Nasboy could have just been fallen victim to a WM1 of a scout there, but that's not the way things go in the end. nerdRage playing kind of far back on middle. They type TikTok in the chat. They know that the time is against Feint right now. I mean, you rarely see teams just go 2-0 up and park the bus nowadays, but it looks like that's what they're opting to do. Feint do just use straight in and find Nasboy for free, and now they... Oh, that could have dropped Seeds. That was so close. Seeds pops on 10 HP after getting a bit too cocky, trying to hold on to that Uber maybe. There is a hider from Hugo, but at the end of the day, Feint did spend an entire Uber trying to kill one player, and that's not good enough. There is a back cap, but the stack on second should outdo them. It only just does, and now they'll be able to run straight to last, where the only defense is Vanny on sniper versus 4. That's not happening. 3-0. We could be seeing a very dominant third map in this series.
Yeah, 3-0 is the scoreline there. I mean, you know, nerdRage, they just managed to, you know, after they got desperate on Feint, they used out the Uber through choke, they killed Nasboy. I just want to say, by the way, that's instant karma for writing TikTok in the chat. Just getting 2 shot by an Ubered scout is not what you want to have happen, but Making their way in now towards this next mid. 3-0 currently for nerdRage. Running away with this game, it looks like. 14 minutes is the timer here. Opti getting bombed on this low ground, actually. Looks like they're going to be going for a different style of mid here. Going for the left-hand side push, but nerdRage going to be mirroring here. Nubby now committing for the Pank. Just wants to clean it up here and gets really weak. Does receive an arrow from Seeds there, so he's going to remain alive for the time being. Ehor getting too sticky down by Nasboy, so he's going to be the first casualty. Both teams going to be trading on the side of mid. Opti desperately committing here for Nasboy, and they're not managing to find the damage, unfortunately. nerdRage has done a very good job just splitting their heals and making sure everyone remains alive. Nasboy is now going to get an arrow as well. All the players on the side of nerdRage have remained alive for all of this. And Vanny up to 98% here. Does now have a supercharge. They pop it out immediately. Looking like they want to take a trade and then run away out of this mid-fight. And that's exactly what they're going to do here. Vanny's just going to be escaping back through choke. Mac, though, can't receive any amount of that overcharge. Does get arrowed at the tail end. And looks like Seeds is going to survive here at the end of this, but the recommit is coming through on this mid-fight, heading back in here. And looks like nerdRage are actually going to lose this one at the end of it.
Yeah, really, really weird. Feint had to use their Ubercharge just to get out because they were players down and both teams were playing on each other's side of the point. And now it looks like Feint even going to try and bust into second. They're going to use any opportunity they can to keep this game moving. They know that they're against the clock. 13 minutes to find 3 rounds. Ghazi rushing forwards and getting no damage dealt to him. What? How is Ghazi staying alive this long? This should not be allowed. And they do manage to capitalize off of it. That's 3 frags just purely from Ghazi dodging and staying alive for so long. And now they can commit straight into mid. They find Vanny for free. Mac is getting cleaned up here too. Opti on the back cap, but there's no chance he gets this. There's already ×4 on mid. Nubby hunting him down as well if he just stands on this point. Oh, Opti nearly hit that nice shot, but it's not good enough at all. And now, you know, nerdRage can nearly convert another round just from this. They have 100% advantage and second once again.
I think Nasboy has now got inside of the Feint Gaming team's head. I mean, he wrote TikTok in the chat. I just want to point out, by the way, he wrote TikTok as in the app, not the actual saying TikTok, because he's a Zoomer, apparently. But anyway, heading in towards last now. Seeds has his full ad to play with in Yeehor here. With this Sentry gun, currently only level 2, going to be trying to construct that one up, and Nubby has not spotted it as well. They're going to be trying to spam this gun before they let the push happen. Good damage onto the gun already. Looks like Nasboy going to be jumping in. Does deny that gun immediately. They've got stickers currently on the point where Alex is going to stand on it, get good capture time down there. Unfortunately, Ghazi there getting up on top. Does get off Opti. Josh goes down as well. Heavy is currently still on the high ground. 450 HP uncontested. And they're not going to be able to do anything against that Heavy, who just tickles them down. And they eventually all die. So they lose 3 players on the side of nerdRage. Going to escape with their remaining players.
Yep. Feint still showing they have some life left. They do manage to capture up second here and maintain a good Ubercharge advantage. Opti just spawning as well. There's still 2 players out of the fight for nerdRage, so they can try and bust into mid here. Mac just bombing through straight away. Does make the space, but he's fighting an uphill battle, quite literally, against all the players on the high ground spamming down at him. They will pick up Hugo. And now the Ubercharge is up for Seeds as well. There could be a trade on point here. It comes out from Feint first, and now nerdRage is much better. Looks like they're going to be chasing this one all the way forwards. And Feint, they're just so scattered around. Voxy's going to get picked up on the end. And now it's nerdRage's opportunity to push through.
Yeah, more or less, just sitting with Seeds there, just keeping in a position there to take any fight that he wants to go into. Though the bomb comes in from Hugo, massive damage in the choke, the clean up onto Seeds, and they manage to find basically everyone. It's just Josh left alive on 71 HP to retreat back onto mid. He's going to collect the pack and maybe go for a sack attempt here. But looks like the rest of Feint going to be heading their way in towards mid. Voxy and Yeehor going to be claiming that high ground, getting their cap time down, but forward spawners are now coming from nerdRage. They need to decide what they want to do here on the side of nerdRage before anything else happens.
Yeah, I don't think they'll contest this. Vanny has... Oh my god, never mind. He's straight in. The capture is off, but Yeehor just 2 shots. Nasboy in the choke. Now gets on Seize as well, but he's whipping everything, but he doesn't need that. Opti's in to back him up, and they will get all these frags here from Feint. They lose Vanny in the meantime, but they've got absolutely everything. Literally all 6 players on the server. So now they can start to cap up second. There's still a lot of respawn time. If they can just get in onto last, they need to stop these players coming out of spawn. ×2 on the cap. They're gonna look like they're getting around. Yes. Oh, and this all started from Opti and Hugo having a crazy double bomb. All of nerdRage funneling themselves in through choke, and from different directions, Opti and Hugo sync their bombs up perfectly and pretty much wiped nerdRage trying to push into Feint's second. So there's still signs of life for Feint.
Incredible stuff there from Hugo, just boxing them in that spawn door, unable to get anything going on. So now a spoon comes in from Nubby onto Hugo. Hugo surfs the spoon and lives. Nasboy going down to Opti there. Big play from him. Josh trying to bomb now, gets denied on that high ground. Nubby going in for a failed bomb as well. Unfortunately can't find anyone, but they do find Vanny at the tail end though, with one clean rocket from Nubby to just a clean right at the tail end. And Seeds with 65% is retreating out with Moral Alexi. Very typical stuff from them.
I think it's sloppy to let Vanny die there from Feint. Both the soldiers for nerdRage were below 60 health, and still Nubby manages to get in with just one rocket to topple Vanny at the end. nerdRage trying to put some pressure to get out of last. They do have 100% advantage. It's never easy to get out of last with 100% advantage, but Process is one of the maps where it's easier, and they do just get the point for free. Feint decide to give it up rather than lose their lives potentially. Voxy was trying to go for a back cap maybe.
Nope,
Does
the
get
bomb's
found,
coming.
and there's actually a triple sack in. Opti and Hugo both bomb in. They do force off Seeds and get out alive with one of their soldiers, so it's only a double sack in the end. But 2 players or an Uber, which would you rather have?
I mean, they're heading in towards mid. They're just going to spam them out here. I don't think they're going to commit to anything. Maybe commit towards Mac, who's a little bit far forward. But they find Gazzy there with a nice trap and scattergun tickling combination there. Hugo's going to be bombing towards the point, and they managed to deny them from reclaiming this mid. And they have add to boot, so they're going to be able to move now in towards second and maybe a last, depending on how fast they go. But Vandy's going to be sitting on the point, clearing up these stickies and making sure they can get in without dropping any Uber charges here. Seeds already up to 70%. They're building hard in rollout. So it looks like they're going to have this Uber for last, but they're going to have to give up second as a result.
Yeah, they're going to get the Uber for last. There's no advantage really to play off anymore for Feint, and we're back in this scenario. They haven't managed to convert one like this as of yet. In fact, last time they dropped Seeds, we saw a devastating round for Feint. They are just trying to bust 2 players for free through 5, but that doesn't work out at all. Both the Scout and Soldier take a lot of damage. Hugo loses his life even as well. And there's 7.5 minutes.
I want to point out as well, we've got dual banners on these soldiers once again. I mean, Josh bombed as well as Nubby bombing, so they got a decent amount of their banners already built. So they're going to be basically ready to go by the time some kind of push comes in. I mean, we've got 7 minutes on the clock. And if time tells, I mean, it is possible for Feint Gaming to draw it up or even still win. So everything's still to play for as long as they keep their cool. I mean, we've seen a lot of rushed plays coming out from Feint Gaming where they tried to, go for desperation plays, like we said before, and with Nasboy sitting in their heads with the TikTok meme. So, they're going to be feeling a little bit pressurized, but they still have time to play with. So need to just take their time, relax, compose themselves, and get ready for some kind of push.
Yeah, these players, as you mentioned, the TikTok in chat, these teams are genuinely in each other's head quite a lot. There is a rivalry, to say the least, between particularly, I think, Nasboy and Josh versus Hugo and Mac. They've been typing a lot so far over the course of these 3 maps. There's been lols, there's been TikToks, and Mac even dropped a "don't try it, you might hurt yourself" on the last map. Hugo has gone down, but there's not much nerdRage are willing to do off that 1 soldier pick. They're just chilling. They're 2 rounds up, 6 minutes left. If they can just stop Feint from managing to bust into last, which they've been very successful at stopping so far, then they are gonna be looking comfortable going into our map number 4.
I don't know if you spot the sentry gun position coming out from Gazi, but it's slightly off to the left to make it easier to spam from 5, so it goes down immediately because it wasn't in the center of the point and it wasn't actually able to shoot through that doorway. So unfortunate stuff there from Gazi. He's going to have to rebuild that sentry gun, but this buys a window now as they're going in for the super trade immediately. Voxy gets skyboxed with that, and Moral Alexi here actually on the pyro for once. This is going to be air blasting Vanny into a corner, so Vanny's just going to get burnt alive by the W plus M1. Is actually managed. How is he stuck?
What?
Somebody killed this.
What?
No.
Oh my
No.
god!
No way! No! How does he live? Okay, he's dead. Thank God for that.
Okay,
Anyway, Nubby in the
doesn't
back
matter
line
much in
manages
the
to
end.
him up. They send in the rest of the players. Hugo goes in and they feed all their lives away. It's going to be a wipe.
God, what did I just witness? This is abysmal. Feint, they just try and take a trade for, as far as I can see, no reason. Get completely launched out of the Uber. Vanny manages to get himself stuck, failing a jump so he can't even retreat after the Uber. Then somehow escapes from Moralexi being bad at Pyro. And then, I don't know, we ended up here. already nerdRage in onto mid, utilizing this banner. They do manage to bust in fairly easily without using this Uber charge advantage, which they still do have. And just, if Feint must be not happy at this point. That was a desperation play, and now they need to be even more desperate. Hugo bombing straight in onto Nasboy. Doesn't find the frag, but gives his players space to move in behind him. But they just give it up straight away again. They take the space, they give up the space. Feint need to be moving.
Yeah, they need to be on a constant carousel of gaining points right now. 4 minutes on the clock, so they need 2-minute rounds to get it back to a golden cap, but even then they have to win another round, so it's looking rather rough for them in this map. I feel like they've basically already conceded it with these desperation players sacking out here, and also Seeds on that cheeky high ground spot. They cannot afford on the side of Feint Gaming to run a slow class like Sniper. They need to come up with some coordinated solution to how they're going to solve this nerdRage defense, but when you are the winning team, you are more likely to make mistakes as you get complacent here. But Nubby currently holding that banner. They pop out this conch for this even fight that's going to take place. Opti going down first here as the first casualty of war. But Nubby fully committing here in for Vanny. And they managed to get the force out of this Uber charge, and Seeds still hasn't had to use his Uber here. So they're sitting back nice and comfortably here. And they still have some battalions built on Josh as well. So they're going to have that available for them when they're making their way in towards second. They're actually going to push out here, which I think is a wise move since you are in the seat of advantage. And you don't want to stop this train here. If you're on the side of nerdRage, more rounds equals more likely to win as they're heading in towards second. Good damage down as they find Nasboy on the side of Feint Gaming, which is a saving grace of this push. But Seeds here going to pop out the supercharge inside the chase, come through one. They're trying to get the damage down to all these players, but it's just a scout heading through one, unable to do very much there.
Yeah, but I think it's it for Feint anyway. A dreadful dud Uber on mid that they just used off when they didn't really need to, and then also did nothing with. Maybe it was a panic call from Vanny and no one really knew, no one was expecting it to happen, didn't really know how to use off of it. They just basically stood around with their dicks in their hands, just Uber doing nothing. And now Feint, they are throwing everything they can at this, 2 minutes 30. They just need to W and hope for the best as they do double bomb through onto mid, trying to get anything they can. No one is falling for it on nerdRage. In fact, nerdRage is just willing to give up the point entirely just to slow down each progressive captured point.
I've got to give a big question mark to Seeds there. He was playing super passive away from the rest of his team on IT, basically all on his own. But this Uber, like you mentioned before, another dud Uber. Vanny pops out, no one fully commits. Seeds still has his Uber. Only on 60 HP, but that doesn't matter since no one's really pressuring him at all. And Max trying to fire these pipes over the top. They find 2 picks though. They find Josh, they find Nasboy, but they get a pick onto Yeehoy, and the Uber now comes out here. Oh my god, the paper shredder from these scouts just two-shotting everything in their path. Vanny gets the saw out. First saw onto more Alexi here. Still surviving, eventually just kill blinds though, unfortunately. And this is probably going to be it. 1 minute 40 remaining on this clock. Still technically doable if they bust mid and cap immediately.
Yeah, I mean, it's technically doable, but it's not, is it really? The 1 minute 30 for 2 rounds, I think we're officially over here. I think we can start thinking about map 4, and this is more like what I expected. Both teams did take each other's map in that first half of this best of 5, but now we do see nerdRage come out on top on process, which is kind of what we expected. Sunshine is up next, and Sunshine is a map that nerdRage don't like, and they lost in the season to Feint, but Feint don't particularly like it either, I think, but I favour Feint on that map for sure. I think nerdRage make no secret of the fact that they are kind of disapproving of Sunshine, not a fan of how it's played. It doesn't really benefit their play style either, of, you know, always trying to stay on the move. Sunshine, you can feel incredibly hopeless on Sunshine last when you're against a team on your second. There's no chance of you staying on the move. So it's not over for Feint. I think Sunshine is probably the map that I most think they had a chance on going into today, so they could definitely take us to a 5th map after this. Trash time just rounding up now, 15 seconds. Obviously nerdRage got another round in that time I was blabbing, but
Blabbing about Sunshine. Yeah, like you mentioned, slow map. Eemes said it before, you know, it's the map that they beat them on in the season, so looking forward to coming to this next game. 4-1 is the final scoreline. nerdRage going to be taking away Process, making it a 2-1 affair now on their match point, as we're going to be heading into our 4th map, ladies and gentlemen. So, heading our way to our analysis panel to clean up the rest of this game.
Thank you, boys. Thank you, boys. Okay, well, you can run away from the Moralexi Pyro. You can run away from the meme spoon, apparently, as Hugo has proved. But you can't run away from time, Eames. And time was not Feint Gaming's friend in this match.
No, although in some ways, once again, they weren't also their own friend. In particularly one crucial moment I would just draw your attention to in that match was, of course, this drop from Vanny. So 1-0. It was a great first round from nerdRage, taking a very convincing mid, and their last pushes on this map, apart from the very final one that they did, or one they did late in the map anyway, they had very, very good conversion rate on their last pushes. So it was very impressive. A lot of that map was nerdRage playing extremely clean in transition and last pushes. They had it very much worked out. It's the very, compared to Granary and Granary and Product, Process is the map that everyone knows inside out. They know every little part of it, everything they have to do in pretty much all the situations. So the practiced nature of nerdRage really coming through in that one, I think. But just to go back to that crucial moment, Seeds gets dropped by the Spy, I think from Opti on last, with Feint coming back into the game at 1-0 down, and then Vanny drops the sniper from 1. I mean, it's a rookie mistake, really. It's perhaps Grand Finals nerves, but it's a real car crash moment. And at that point, then nerdRage roll with the help of the Josh banner. They roll it all the way back to the Feint's last and take that round, which is 2-0, and that really set up the rest of the map. Feint sort of started a comeback later on, but that really put them on the back foot.
Yeah, a lot of people probably watching and thinking, "Wow, Feint are really just going, for these really strange trades or optimistic plays." But this is what happens when you get these sort of 2-round cushions ahead, and some teams like to play a bit patient, wait for the winning team to, like I think it was Lucky saying, to get too cocky and to throw some mistakes away. But I didn't see too many nerdRage mistakes. Did you?
No, very few. I mean, you could call the Seeds drop on last a mistake, but it wasn't really. It's just something that happens in stalemates sometimes. They had pretty strong mids. They did mess up that one rather strange mid where they were 6v4, but it was a trade for Feint, and Feint managed to get some frags and win that one out. But in terms of they weren't really letting Seeds die very often at all. We see the big contrast on the logs is Vanny 10 deaths, Seeds 4, and I think that compared to Product, which was very chaotic and very uncharacteristic of Seeds, getting loads of deaths, and these very minor sort of flank play mistakes in Granary, very few of them were coming in for nerdRage on this particular map.
Yeah, speaking of the flank, Opti wasn't nearly having the breakout performances he was showing on the first 2 maps. And do you think that just came down to the map, or are they starting to attune their gameplay a little bit, like not let this Opti character have as much say in the maps as he's had previously?
I think certainly it comes down to the map a bit. I mean, there's a big difference in terms of how you can react to it as a scout with between Process and Granary in particular. The kinds of plays that soldiers make in Granary are hiding plays, as we saw Hugo coming through the door, going in behind, or the high bomb from Nubby. They're kind of weird plays, and either you spot them out or you don't. Whereas on Process, it's just more about hitting your shots and playing close to your med, basically, which is pretty much exactly what Kunu is good at. And so it was much easier for them overall to deny these soldier players.
Yeah, Moralexi having a much I wouldn't say even a much happier time. He's been kind of consistently enjoying himself. Gazi was enjoying himself a lot more on this map as well. But the scouts over on Feint, I feel like they were... Actually, I'm looking at the stats now, and they're not looking too bad. Voxy maybe, dampening a bit, but I guess it's hard. When you get 2 rounds up, any team is going to kind of buckle to these sort of plays. But it's a new map, new me, and it is match point for nerdRage now. It's going to be Sunshine, though. So Feint Gaming in the past have proven that they can beat nerdRage on this map, but do you think that's just completely changed now? We should just take those sort of results out the window, or does it matter when it comes to that previous result?
I think that will give them some confidence. I do think that they may be a little bit lacking in focus or belief after this map, which was fairly strong for nerdRage. And so I think it's really important for Feint to get a good early start. If they go down 2 rounds early on Sunshine here, they're going to be really, really feeling the Grand Finals nerves, aware that they could go out of this if they don't get more rounds quickly, and that knowledge itself may just really, really harm their performance.
No, it's a lot of interesting things that kind of unlock when you come into a grand final. I'm not sure many players will know, but your adrenaline starts pumping, or the nerves start kicking. Fight or flight is much more of a thing. And do you think any of these particular players have shown evidence of, thriving in an environment like that, or failing in an environment like that?
Well, I think many of the players have histories. For most of them, I think perhaps apart from Gazzy, this is their first grand final. This is not their first grand final. Rather, I think he might be the only person for whom it is the first grand final. Maybe Opti as well, and I suppose Max. So there's a few of them actually. But a lot of the players are quite experienced, and they might have choked in the past in some grand finals, but probably won't be today because they're a bit more. They know what's up. I think it's more probably the team perspective overall. Can they make the great calls in the right situation? Can they react to things very efficiently? Can they make a good read? That would be a really key one. Whereas, for instance, we saw perhaps the grand finals nerves come out not so much on this map. Well, apart from that big Vanny drop, which was a big moment, but for Feint, very much on product. So if they do lose this map now, they'll be really kicking themselves about product because they were playing so well on it. They got the win out on Granary. This one, they looked like they were, kind of out of the game quite quickly. But it's all about these marginal situations. Can you get a good read? Can you make the right decision?
Now, we did talk about this would be maybe mildly favourable for Feint going into this map, but they have got the momentum a little bit against themselves as well. Do you think this is the biggest hurdle for them in this grand final? Do you think once they get to Snakewater, things are going to feel a lot easier for them, or is that a hurdle in of itself?
Well, of course. I mean, this is a huge hurdle for Feint. Of course, they have to win it to stay in. They're really on the line now. They may be, somewhat expected to win, but it's hardly, it's hardly a foregone conclusion. With, of course, both teams having lost their picks earlier in the series, and they just lost 4-1 on Process, which is a map that's quite similar to Sunshine, in that it's very open, and scouts can deny Sollies quite well on it. Although it's probably slightly more favored for Sollies than Processes. But so yes, it's a big test for Feint now. Can they hold their nerve? Can they put this map behind them and really just play their game and win out here?
All right, Eames. I'm going to do my favourite little segments when times are ticking and players are still talking. It's because they're doing this exact same thing. They're getting their coach talks going. They're talking through the map. They're saying their final little huzzas. They're opening those YouTube playlists with that one guy that's chanting, "I am a champion." What do you say to your teammates when you're in games like this? You match point. If you're in the locker room of, say, Feint Gaming right now, what would you say to your boys?
I think you're trying to keep the focus. You're trying to talk maybe a little bit about the things that went well in the past when you played nerdRage on this map. So you're visualizing what's gonna work, and you're confident that maybe even if you go down a round or something bad happens, that you can get back into it. You're saying focus, focus on each individual play and each moment. Don't focus on the big picture. And they're saying, keep playing our game, and maybe as well they're running over any extra funny grand final strats that they might have, or reads they might have on maybe they watch some nerdRage demos and they know they're going to do X in this situation and do this. But mostly it's about staying calm, staying focused, and just playing your game.
All right. And if speaking of little strats or conditions to kind of win the game, what do you think nerdRage's plan is to win this game? And they're just going to be like, right, lads, just start DMing it up, and let's just hope that Vanny walks into our sights again, or do they have a more refined plan than that?
It's hard to tell in a way. I think they don't seem to play too differently. They always pretty much play in the same way. It seems to me, at least. But I expect they'll be trying to keep what was very, very good for them on this map, which was on Process, that is, which was Seeds staying alive very, very well, very consistently, and them just winning out fights because of that often.
So above else, keep Seeds alive.
Yeah, I think so. And well, yeah.
Yeah, good luck with that. Okay, so because we've got a bit of spare time here, I'm going to make you look really good as an analyst here, Eames. This is where you pull out your predictions out of your arse, and then people in the Twitch chat will just look at you as a god if you get the perfect prediction. I felt it but once this season, and boy does it feel good. So what number are you hitting me with today?
All right. Well, I think it's going to be a close one, but Feint are going to bring it out here. I'm hoping sort of for a 5th map. So I'm going to say Feint 3-2.
All right, well, I'm going to go against your little prediction in a way. I'm going to say that Feint are going to win it. We're going to go get our 5 maps, but I think they're going to go against their motto. I think that the whole what Mac is preaching about, we can always go aggressive and it's just bad team play. I think they're going to slow this game down to a ridiculous crawl. They're going to take 1 round and it's just going to be defense all the way. Not so much that they'll be camping, but like it will be just a slog of just dealing with nerdRage and they're butting their heads against the wall. I'm calling it here, Twitch chat. Get your coffee going. Start eating them sandwiches. We're here for the long haul.
But so what was the score prediction?
1-0. 1-0 is
Whoa.
what I'm putting my thing on. Yeah, it's going to be one of those games. It's not going to be sunshine. It's going to be darkness. CP darkness. All right, so I guess these locker room talks are taking a lot longer. I guess it has been, that marathon race that we were talking about. 5 maps after all. People are taking cigarette breaks, going to the toilet and whatnot. Changing sensors or anything, because some of these players do. Maybe Nasboy is probably getting a new Steam ID for all we know.
There are many possibilities, Turbo.
Is there any sort of rituals you like to go through when in your pre-games, Eames? Is there any sort of like lucky underwear that you wear for the grand finals at all? Superstitious, perhaps?
Any of my rituals? Not really. Sometimes, if you're feeling a bit out of it, you go for going to splash water on your face. I remember my
Oh, here we go.
At Copenhagen 1, we were having some tough games. We kind of felt like we were choking, and I would go. It was the thing about Copenhagen 1 as opposed to Copenhagen 2 is that it was extremely cold. It was in like late March, but it was snowing outside.
It's just cold country,
as you will remember. But I was, I was feeling pressure, and I wanted to sort of wake myself up, so I'd go out into the car park and run around.
Wow, damn!
That was a pretty good way to get back into the game. Although we still did still lose these games where I was doing that, so I guess it didn't work that well. But bit of physical exercise never hurt anybody.
So that's what happened now. Is Nasboy taking a lap around the block, and that's what we were waiting on. I'm trying to see. There's no particular players I know that have any sort of things like that. Usually, there's always some quirks hidden somewhere between all these players, but none of them are really jumping out at me. Maybe they're just delaying the inevitable. You ever got that sort of grand final fear, that sort of flustered moment, or are these professional gamers here, Eames? Does nothing bother them?
Well, I mean, it's hard to tell. I'm not in their heads, I suppose, but I think probably not overall. I would say the main reason that you get very much in your head in a grand final is you think, oh my God, we're losing. What do we do? Nothing is working. I've got to completely change the game plan. I've got to start doing, completely different mids. I've got to start going for crazy plays. And that is basically the way that you lose, because you lose faith in your own team that you can win playing your game. But if you how to keep focus and not choke in a game like this is to think, I trust in my team completely, and I just need to play my role properly. I need to not do things differently. I need to try not to com any more excitedly or passionately than normal. I need to not scream every time we're ahead and whine every time we're behind. I need to keep my cool, keep everything on an even keel, and just wait. Believe in your team and its ability to clutch it out.
You'd make a wonderful life coach, Eames. I've got a question for you. Now, it's obviously the grand final, and with every grand final, we've got grand record-breaking numbers usually. I think I even saw our numbers hitting close to 1K at one point. But do the numbers ever bother these players and teams? Do they ever think to the back of themselves like, oh no, 1,000 people just see me beef against this scout here, oh no? Or are they too busy looking at clips? How much do they think about the broadcast aspect of things? You've watched a clip or two. I know you have. I've seen you straight after your games looking at the stream.
Yeah, I think you think about it a bit. Of course, you don't always know where the camera's going to be on you. So sometimes you're like, oh my God, I hit this air shot. Were they watching me? And then they weren't. And you're like, God damn it. So that's pretty annoying. But yes, you are sometimes thinking like, oh, what if someone saw me miss there? But I think you've got to go back to I think it's probably Cadus's advice that he always made about it, as he was not a great DM player, and he would always be sort of playing his role, but not really trying to hit flashy shots most of the time. And so sometimes he would describe it as middies, shit talking him in Twitch chat. And they would say, "Oh my God, look, Cadus missed that shot. What is he doing?" But it's like, hello, this guy's the greatest demo man of all time. He's playing on 7. And they're winning the game. So, it doesn't matter what people say about you in the chat. Really, you're concerned with winning.
The lions don't concern themselves with the opinion of sheep.
Exactly.
Fair play. All right. Well, I think we need to take it away to our own personal lines. The broadcast team themselves, the duo, Lucky, Bum, take us away on our 4th map.
It's been rigged, but yeah.
Oh,
yeah, we're here though. We're here. We're ready to talk about some video games. But unfortunately, we weren't ready, ladies and gentlemen, and we got mega debated because Vanny crashed, which is always fun when you're about to head into sunshine. How you doing, Bumfreeze? Welcome back.
I'm doing good. I've been reading the chat. Max having a bit of a mental breakdown to cope with that map loss. It looks like talking a lot about farting in the chat, so that's lovely. Everyone deals with loss in their own way, and I suppose if that's how you want to do it, then you do you, Mac.
I mean, his flatulence is how he deals with stress, I think. Fight or flight, you just release everything, and then you can run or fight better. Whole psychological, maybe that's it. Maybe he's so scared that he just sharts himself before every official.
I think he genuinely is scared and or tilted. I think the only reason you type to yourself this much in chat, trying to show and prove to everyone how much you're having so much fun and it's all really funny to you, is when secretly, deep down, you're very upset. And that's maybe his way of, look at me, guys, I'm still having fun, I promise. Look, maybe overdoing it a bit. Okay, for real this time, we are onto our 4th map. If you've just joined us, nerdRage do lead this series 2-1 in maps. We have Sunshine coming up for you right now. Feint versus nerdRage. An immediate ultra-fast bomb from Nubby landing on the enemy second, but not doing much to Feint. And there's a kind of dual collision in the skybox there, both soldiers bouncing off of each other, but still no one falling for either team.
Looks like we're playing Star Wars Battlefront with the amount of teams going in the skybox at the start of this one, so both teams just going to be mirroring each other. Very classical Sunshine mid-fight we've got going on right here. Hugo's going to be the first one that he's going to fully commit, though. He's all the way nice and deep, with Nubby with a nice little jump away there. Just going to survive. Opti once again doing exactly the same thing, but neither team's losing anyone here. And it's going to be Hugo and Nubby taking a weird fight here. Out in second, but Opti also coming on the flank, and we're seeing some kind of a lapse here, as we are seeing both Ubers getting traded out, and the first frag eventually goes through. Hugo going down and Nubby going down, so a soldier for each team, but the collapse here from Josh onto the combo of Feint Gaming, and eventually Gazzy trying to get top of this medic, but he whiffs everything and can't quite land the shots. Opti's in on the high ground, good damage down onto the rest of the side of nerdRage, really good damage onto Nasmo in fact. The match is clear of everyone here. Yeehor is in, only a Solomon Valor to protect Seeds there right at the end of it. He goes down, Nasmo is going to get his pack through Cafe, so he does survive, but the rest of nerdRage die.
Yeah, and it's a good choice here from Yeehor to just capture up the point. You saw for a second he was hungry for blood, he wanted to chase down Nasboy, but there's just no need. Getting a demo man pick here is not worthwhile. Maybe if that was Seeds, the last player alive, he would have gone for it, but made the right choice. They've captured up middle. Nubby on the spy, already out of spawn. He's playing kind of near the choke here, seeing what he can get. Feint just want to bust this off the back of their overcharge advantage, but they've already lost Yeehor, and going through choke, despite it being maybe the fastest way to get in, is by far the least safe. You have this horrible fence right in your face that they can just stand on, and it's a dud. How many times have we talked about these terrible
Sticky! No! They lose Mac as well, the sticky drop on the wall. Neither of them looked at it, and they lose him because of it, and also because of this, they can't get it down. But Hugo bombing in, gets on top of Seeds, and they find him at the tail end. How many times have we seen that as well, Bumfreeze, in this grand final?
Yeah, I mean, once again, Seeds going down. Feint being able to immediately repush here. Nasboy looks like he's gonna be able to get out in time. In fact, no, Yeehor directly on top of him. Yeehor manages to finish that off, and this is where chasing the demo man helps a hell of a lot. We do have no stickies on the last point. Nasboy saying in chat, "You're so bad, it's unreal," to Yeehor, despite him being the person 50 meters ahead of his team getting caught out and dying. Yeah, I said it. But he's already respawned in time for last. It's not going to have that much of an effect. Vanny getting his Uber charge back up. Seeds only on 40%, so Feint will be able to have an Uber charge in here. They use in from top right.
Imagine to get all the way in for top right for free, and also this level, the sentry has now been spotted out, but they don't find anything with this Uber. They only get Nubby, but he was on the flank, so not even a casualty of the Uber charge. The sentry gun eventually going down, but they're all on very weird positioning here from Feint Gaming. Vanny is actually stuck in lower, so unable to heal the rest of his team or walk up here. And Josh with a slow siege onto these scouts as well, just walking across the point here on the side of nerdRage. It's just going to be Mac versus these two players. If he can land the stickies, he could win it out, but it looks like he's trying to sticky off the edge of this point here. It's just going to go for it in the end and feeds his life away for it. Vanny does survive, but Seeds maintains that Uber.
Yeah, he could have caught a bow from Vanny on the way out that might have changed things a little bit, but Vanny made the right choice in not staying in for that entire fight, because then if Mac does fall, your team is in such a worse position than if you just take the safe way out. And now there is an attempt to repush on second. There is a banner out though from nerdRage. They always seem to have this banner as a backup plan for if anything does go wrong, or for just extending this little bit of how far they can push with their Uber charge advantage. You know, get 1 point with the banner, get the next one with the Uber maybe. And now Josh has been denied, does get taken down by 1 damage scattergun across the mid here. Vanny is going to get his Uber any second now, but they need to be careful to not bait Seeds' Uber out too quickly, because if Seeds collapses before Vanny gets it, it could be devastating. But now Vanny does have his Uber up, the trade is out on point. Opti does take down Gazzy. He's gonna fall to Nubby on the flank though, but the rest of the frags inside the Uber itself definitely going Feint's way. Nasboy and Seeds both very low as they're trying to get out to lobby. And now Feint walking in from Flower. Just need to worry about Nubby behind, but they've already got some sets of eyes on him. They're going to be able to take control of the lighthouse.
They're able to get the second, only just though. I mean, it was a very weird push coming out from the side of nerdRage in towards that mid. They took a little bit of time there, didn't focus on the correct players. As a result, they get punished and they end up on their own last here. So imagine to build up that sentry gun now already. So they're going to be constructing that gun back in the spawn, making sure it's nice and safe while it's being built. And in the meantime, Josh is going to take this time to get a 300 HP buff and build up that banner on the left-hand side. So once again, this insurance policy that you talked about before, if they fail one thing, they'll have another thing to back them up in the end. So, you know, holding last, I have said it in previous casts, but I feel like as a soldier, you know, when you're holding last, it's banner or shotgun. You pick one, and it seems to work out much better than just having gunboats a lot of the time. Apart from on specific last, maybe Granary, for example, where jumping around is a little bit more prevalent.
Yeah, this map is so nasty. It's kind of not arbitrary, kind of required to have a sentry gun up on this last, because it is one of the easier maps to kind of sack through, I suppose. Opti does demonstrate that as he sacks into the skybox, but that's exactly why you have the sentry. Just pins him against the roof, instant, easy kill. And now, this is why it can be so punishing to be on last as well. Feint just back out 2 seconds, and nerdRage have a lot of distance to walk and not really any ideal routes to get out onto second. It basically allows this team on second. Oh, Hugo actually jumps up behind Nubby, could find a pick here. They do manage to get that, so good job just getting their hands on one soldier pretty easily, and now it looks like they're going to head over towards the left.
Yeah, Moral Alexi did check for the sniper, did say that there wasn't one, so now they know what they're playing against right now. They are just playing against standard cookie cutter classes from the side of Feint Gaming. Looking like they're going to defend this gun. Moral Alexi up on the pyro again. Going to reflect all those rockets off of the gun. So with that close left defense, with the Demoman typically on the right side as the pause comes in. I mean, this change up in hold, we've seen a bit of change for how Sunshine is actually played, you know, because we've gone from Demoman holding left side to holding right side as a new meta. How do you feel about this?
Yeah, it's kind of the same as Snakewater. We used to always see the combo kind of watching a shutter, and now it's more like over on the right-hand side by that big door truck side-ish. I don't think it makes too much difference. I think the one big thing is this sentry gun. So the doors are a bit easier on this map to sack through than most. That doesn't mean it's easy to get forced by any means, because obviously they have a lot of distance to cover in actually getting towards seeds, and the sentry denies that very easily. But it's so difficult to get this sentry down because you have to fully peek both of your soldiers around this upper area, which is like directly against a wall, and as long as you have any projectile class there, basically just keeping spam on it, it's near impossible to take this sentry gun down. There is another sack from Opti just trying to get onto Josh this time rather than onto a demo or a medic, but he doesn't even manage to find that. And once again we see the double defending from Feint. You can very easily just give up lobby, you know, defend lobby while you can, and then you have a second chance to defend on second. Makes it so difficult to push out of last off of just these one pick advantages or Uber advantages, stuff like that on Sunshine.
Yeah, I just want to point out as well, Josh has actually managed to fully build his banner now, so the battalions is ready to go. He was building it very well on the right-hand side. Nubby's going to still be building that conch. Takes a little bit less damage to build out the conch than it does to build out the battalions, but he has been receiving significantly less hills and less people have been peeking him. So if they get this combination of conch plus battalions, it's going to be kind of deadly. He only needs to land basically one more rocket to finish out that conch building, so pretty important for them on this defense. Their defense is just growing stronger and stronger by the second that they leave these soldiers alive. So throwing sack attempts onto soldiers now, not a bad move for Opti, trying to just negate that, and also they're asking for the pause on the side of Fig Gaming. Maybe some locker room talk like we were talking about in the pre-game. But Yeehor up on the left-hand side with this sniper rifle, going to be trying to peek this angle to Josh. Doesn't quite land the headshot though.
Yeah, we are just letting Yeehor peek this angle, but he does get swiftly shut down by a bomb from Nubby. This is probably one of the best things you can do if you are in the position of nerdRage, is have these banners up. It's basically just punishing Feint for the longer you fail to push in, the better of a chance we're going to have of pushing out, because you actually, you know, build up some actual value over time, rather than if both of your soldiers were just on gunboats and you're both sitting there not really accomplishing much. It's never easy to just push out with the banners though. They need something else to happen as well. They need a pick on Feint. They need someone to throw their life away, maybe another Opti sack in, for them to actually do something. Although I say that, Nubby does pop off the conch, and there's just a trade from Feint. Another one of these trades where they don't even find the Uber in return. It's just a wasted Uber. They do just seem to be trying these things without much thought into how it's going to work or whether it can go wrong, and then just gifting away advantages. Both the banners now being released from nerdRage, and they still haven't used their Uber either.
I doubt they will have to use it. I mean, they're running up with this damage resistance on, so they're not going to be able to get a headshot by anyone by Yeehor because the battalion's going. So battalions, one of the extra things it does is negates crits. So unable to get a headshot here, able to use it and run out onto second. But Seeds, he's the one to hold that passive angle, so doesn't want to get anywhere near that point just in case Yeehor is still peeking. But they do manage to get the capture through. Vanny only up to 70%. It's super hard to hold, actually, when the sniper is in the game, because it's one less class that is going to be DM heavy. He needs to land those headshots, and in those moments of peak action, it's very hard. It's a very tall order to hit those shots. I mean, I'm just flicking my eyes over to the scoreboard, though, and I'm seeing 16 points for Yeehor, and everyone else is still in single digits. So, I mean, I might be in my own words.
Yeah, well, we do still have... Now, the Uber's starting to even up. Yeehor's still on sniper, of course. Opti trying to see if he can get any spam for Yeehor to take this angle. He does get some views onto players, but doesn't hit a shot. And this, it's tricky for Feint. We've seen a lot of games recently between these two teams. Feels like on this map as well. In particular, thanks to the amount of cups being put on recently, we get to see a lot of maps being played more than we just would in regular seasons. And you know, Feint and nerdRage have always been very close on these. There is a sack in from Opti. He does find one rocket on Seeds, but not an inch more. He'll get taken down. And, you know, a lot of times these stalemates have just gone on for a long time until the round resets, even on occasion. So we'll see if Feint can... if they've kind of sorted out how to bust through these.
I mean, I think nerdRage are here missing the trick. I mean, there's a sniper still up on the side of Fin Gaming. Opti actually swapping onto the spy here, doing a little bit of spy checking, making sure there's no funny business going on. We'll notice that there is no funny business going on. just the same banners and cookie cutter scenario that we're seeing before. We're currently 12 minutes into the map bump freeze. Not a single round has been traded out, like you mentioned before. Sunshine very, very slow, but Yeehaw peeking this angle now, trying to find something here. I think they're more than happy though to play the clock on the side of nerdRage, just get their bearing in this game and just use the skill that they have available to them. Mac hitting an NS in the chat as well for hitting one pipe, and Josh goes in for a commit. Doesn't quite find the damage here, nearly goes down there. Nubby going on the flank as well against Opti. So we've got a little bit of action here and there, but no real commits from either team.
Yeah, this... I mean, I think every map in TF2 has the capacity to be slow, right? But Sunshine seems to be the one where there's kind of the least things you can try to do about it. All these entrances are so far from where you actually need to be to get anything meaningful done. There's not really much room for sacking. You can be seen directly through this kind of fence choke. You can have stickies on it, have players stood on top of it, make it very difficult. The banner is popped out now. Gazi just runs straight forwards into stickies though. In the meantime, Opti taking a 1v1 versus Nubby will force Nubby back, get the pack in lobby, and get himself behind. So Opti now may be in position to try something out. He's coming up from dungeon, immediately spotted though, doesn't really get anything done, but he falls back, and there is actually an Uber out, and it's way better for Feint. nerdRage have used this Uber off first. Opti does go down, but Maskboy gets found, and you definitely take the demo there. And Seeds dying as well, right at the end of the trade. Voxy getting that crucial pick off. Now, if Feint can just keep it together, everyone from nerdRage running forwards into them. It's just Voxy and Vanny versus the world. The spawner is up from Opti now, spawning way back on second. That hasn't gone as well as you think it could have after that trade was so much better for them and they got seeds.
Yeah, I mean, Hugo managed to slip in behind through the bottom right area, back through Flowers, the same way that Opti got in as well, and they just didn't double-check their corners, so Hugo behind in that shutter door there, causing all of the aggression to happen, and they managed to get the pick on Seeds, which is exactly what they needed, but not a massive advantage for them. I mean, Seeds has been building this entire time. He's already up to 45% to Vanny, only up to 70% here. He did have to arrow a bunch of players, obviously now getting weak as 1 second. They can't afford to lose anyone here, as Nubby and Nasboy getting weak as well. They're going to retreat out here, and Vanny, he needs to take the Uber in, and they need to kill Seeds. That's going to be priority number 1. Heading their way in through lobby, making their way towards bottom left on dungeon. They get the super, they pop it out immediately. They don't see Seeds right away. He's currently in the shutter door, just building out the super. He actually commits out of the spawn, and this could be a disaster. They're bombing on top of him, and they find the pick onto Seeds. He goes down, Opti with the bomb down to Alex as well. That's boy going down as well. The picks are there for Feint Gaming. Nubby now going down as well at the tail end of this fight. The first round going the way of Feint Gaming.
Beautifully predicted by you, if I may say so. I mean, I thought Seeds had it all under control. He was staying inside the spawn. I thought, oh, Feint, there's no way they get this. And then Seeds, he comes out of the shutter thinking, oh, I'll probably get this in time. He does just get taken down on 99% right at the end. And that was really make or break whether he got that extra 1% or not. And in the end, he broke. Feint managed to get this first round on the board.
Now another mid-fight coming out here. Opti a little bit split off from the rest of the Feint Gaming crew, but nerdRage equally is split here. They're just going to be mirroring once again on this mid-fight. We're likely to see another slow Sunshine mid, but it looks like we got Hugo. He's fully committing on Nasboy. Nice clean rockets there to take him out there as the frags go through. Seeds getting cleaned up right at the end as well, but Vanny also going down. It's just going to be a raw DM match, but the HP is the way of nerdRage, and the positioning is also the way of nerdRage. But Yeehaw coming in with the flank. Superior DM ability. He's been training for this his whole life. And more Alexi here trying to get on top of Mac as well. Down to 1 HP. Eventually cleaned up at the tail end there. Yeehaw finds the frag onto Josh as well. Gonna drop a taunt on point. Very well deserved from Feint.
Yeah, a great mid of the soldiers. Nubby managing to keep his team alive by destroying Feint on the back half of that, but in the early round, Feint really did come out on top with their soldier bombs. And is this a pause I see? Am I lagging out? What's happening here?
It's a pause.
Another one.
It's another pause. I think this is a tactical pause. I don't know who's called it for this pause here, but I think nerdRage, they've just lost the mid, potentially here, feeling a little bit under pressure here, want to get their team back in the game, get their heads in the right space. I mean, there's been a lot of trash talk in the chat, Bum, if you've been keeping up with it.
Yeah, there really has. After they killed Seeds in the last millisecond before he got Uber, Max said, "Don't try the shutter, mate. It's not a good look." That's a nice one. Yeehaw joining in as well. He's been rather courteous so far, but he manages to now get a word in saying, how does losing feel? That's after Nasboy was criticizing Yeehaw's haircut earlier in the game. And I'm not making any of this up, by the way. All genuine trash talk going on in the chat. These teams do have a really harsh rivalry between each other, kind of building up over this season. And I feel like coming into this grand final, you would have to think that nerdRage were gonna be coming out on top. And maybe that's letting emotions run a bit high, the fact that they haven't kind of dispatched of Feint yet. The Feint have been falling behind all season, you know, taking losses to the 3rd and 4th place teams, and obviously in the upper bracket final losing in a straight 2-0 fashion to nerdRage, but they haven't been that much of a pushover tonight. And now with obviously tensions running high and everyone being a bit naughty in chat, it could be having an effect on players, genuinely.
Maybe just a little bit. I mean, I feel like Nasboy's been talking a fair amount of smack this game. I feel like after last game he activated. Maybe he had enough about Mac talking about smelly farts, or I don't know what it is. Or maybe he is genuinely affected or afflicted by poor haircuts in particular, and just dislikes those so much that he wants to bring them up in the middle of a game. But that all being said and done, you've got to not take it away from Feint Gaming. That was a very clinical, nice push that they had going on there, and a very good coordinated play that they managed to find onto Seeds. And they knew the game plan coming in. Like I said, they needed to kill Seeds with that Ubercharge, or it was going to be a massive dud once again. But they find him right at the end there, 99%. Granted, a little bit close for comfort, but they get it in the end. So, I mean, Feint Gaming winning this first round, and if the clock doesn't lie and the rounds go in the same way it should do, Feint Gaming should have this game already in the bag.
Yeah, it's definitely a good start for Feint. I mean, there's 2 scenarios of this pause happening. First scenario is Feint win this round very convincingly, 80 seconds in the future, and it's a tactical pause from nerdRage. Or Vanny seems to have been having some issues so far tonight. It could be that he crashed or something, in which case it's going to be very bad for Feint, but we don't know whether it's tactical or technical so far. As we do get into this, obviously, Ubers are roughly even. Both medics went down in the mid-fight, but Feint are just busting straight through on second after nerdRage were all down on the end of that mid.
Oh, this is looking very sloppy though. Nubby is actually in on Flowers, and both these scouts are actually playing low ground, so they're not in any position here. But Nubby in with a bomb in behind on towards Vanny here. Nearly lands the airshot, but eventually getting cleaned up at the end of all of this. So losing 3 on the side, or losing more than 3 actually on the side of nerdRage. They've only got 3 players left on last. Eventually, as one gets a respawn, and they're going to get buffed up here and get ready to go here, as they are making their way in towards last on the side of Feint Gaming. Pressure down to this point already, so decent amount of cap time as the Uber comes through from Seeds. Vanny's going to be able to escape here back through top left, and they are going to get ready for a little bit of a repush as Vanny now collects his Supercharge ready to go.
Yeah, delightful play from Feint. You know, faking out doing one thing. Instead of going for the force, you fake out that you're going for a point play, and the force happens for you, and now you just have this 100% advantage coming straight back in. But the Uber not too successful so far. They do find Gazzy, but no time on point. Sticky's only just getting cleared now. Voxy now playing at times 2 on the cap, only about 20% there. Moralexi putting in the hurt on Heavy. But now all of the frags going the way of Feint. Finally, they're going to be able to collapse onto the point here. Just Seeds left to block it. That's it. Over and done with. And that was a tactical pause initiated by nerdRage there. So 2-0 is the score for Feint. We'll see if nerdRage can get back into this game after having, you know, quite a decent amount of time to talk about it.
Yeah, I mean, nerdRage there, they took a solid 2 minutes there of pause time just so that they could re-talk what they're going to do. 12 minutes still on the clock, so they still have time to play with. We talked about it before, but 2-0 is the scoreline that you're going up against now. So they've rethought their way through this mid-fight, and they understand what they need to do. Looks like they're going for another mirror mid, but it looks like Feint Gaming actually changing up the direction they're going to go here, rolling out through Flowers and taking a left side mid rather than a right side mid, and just going to be heading across there. Nasboy is all alone there on the low ground, but lands up onto Mac. They also clean up Vanny. Josh going down here. Looks like the pause has done them well, but Seeds going down right at the end there is the pick that they needed on the side of Feint Gaming just to slow this game back down to a grinding halt. Moralexi in a 1v1 with Yeehor across the point there, but Nubby finding the pick up there onto Opti with the assistance of Moralexi, and Yeehor eventually going to get DM'd down with the winger.
Yeah, I am sorry, I'm still struggling with my HUD after the pause, so if you could keep on talking for a while.
Got it in the bag, don't worry. So Moral Alexa going to be capping up this midpoint here. So we are going to see Ubers are relatively even here for both teams, and we're going to see what both teams will want to do here. I'm not seeing any funny business just yet, but looks like Feint Gaming more than happy to start setting up on second. They're going to put up their traps and get nice and defensive here. But we are seeing a Seeds Kritzkrieg now, ladies and gentlemen. So the Kritzkrieg, once again, I think nerdRage have been more than happy to actually run this Kritzkrieg. They've seen some good plays with it in the past, but it depends on whether Nasboy hits Parkinson's aim or not.
Yeah, it's been successful for them in the past, specifically tonight. And now they do jump Nubby through, maybe a bit of a distraction, but Hugo way over the top, trying to counter-sack, doesn't find anything. Nasboy using the stickies off now. Again, nothing connecting so far, but they do actually find Yeehor off the back of that, and now all Feint are so high and dry, they need this Uber to pay off. They aren't managing to do it so far. They do find Nasboy now on the end, but they need to get more frags. Voxy needs to hit more shots than that, and he does just get juggled out from Moralexi's scattergun. They do have the players on the respawn. There is a bit of respawn advantage for Feint, but oh my god, that's a fast frag onto Opti coming out from Gaz. Still a 5v5, no Nasboy in the fight versus no Opti. Whichever team comes out on top here is going to look very good for the rest of the round. Moralexi just manages to get a bow up on the end there when he was very, very weak down in the corner. Neither team is losing any players, and eventually Feint cut their losses. They know that if they lose that fight there on second, it's over. Nubby does find Mac, yeah.
That's a massive pick. They also have Seeds with his full Kritzkrieg ready to go. They're going to be running in through the top left area. They got the bomb through from Hugo. The Crit Stickies are flying out. They're not finding anything with them, however, and everyone else goes down. And Seeds didn't fully commit to the push, so he didn't have anyone else to Kritzkrieg there. So Seeds is all the way gone. But Gazzy here in lobby trying to find a fight here, but just gets cleaned up there by Yeehor and Voxy. And Seeds now is in the terrible position where he needs to swap off of this Medigun. He's going back into spawn, back on the Uber charge. Very well played.
Yeah, once Crits ends up in an even versus even scenario, obviously it doesn't matter how much triple damage you do when the other team takes 0 damage. So Hugo does go down, getting a bit too fast there, trying to just bust in alone from Cafe. But, you know, Feint still have this Ubercharger advantage. They know nerdRage are, you know, on the back seat for now, but I say that Josh and Nubby just both bust through. Nubby gets taken down, Gazzy does as well, and now this could be very, very bad for Josh. He's stuck in on the lighthouse as well. 3 picks. They're definitely going to be able to run this forward, Feint.
Oh, I'm seeing deja vu here, because this is kind of what Feint were doing in the last map against nerdRage. They started getting desperate in the closing minutes of the game. I mean, it was the same kind of map time with 10 minutes, but it's only 2 rounds that have expired, so I mean, still all to play for. The Uber trades now coming through, but they clean up Mac immediately here. Vanny only just pops now, so Uber is significantly better, but they do lose their demo, and unfortunately they're not able to chariot this Uber as much as they'd like, but they find Nubby on the flank as well. They need to still get this mid capture through. They do get a player too. Opti on that pain train, able to assist with that capture. Josh now getting cleaned up at the end of that fight as well. So able now to move in towards second on the side of Feint Gaming, just choking nerdRage out of this game.
Yeah, not a great Uber for Feint. Unfortunately, Vanny kind of fell down, couldn't run it forwards, as you said, but his unubered players managed to get the frags in anyway. And I think you're right, we're seeing a complete reverse of Process, whereas Process was definitely way more comfortable for nerdRage. This seems to be Feint's hunting grounds. They are 2 rounds up and in the driving seat for a third as we speak. We are very likely to be seeing a 5th map, which will be Snakewater if it comes down to it. And there is just a dry push from lower. Gazzy on the Pyro running straight in. What can he get done? There's nothing so far, and Gazzy's just taken a lot of damage. But there's a lot of cap time from Kunu as well on the point here. Yeehor and Opti have just fallen for seemingly no reason. I mean, they've been forced out of nothing. Just incredible that nerdRage managed to make that push out of nothing.
Yeah, Opti went in for a play to try and get him behind, going for the Hail Mary play, trying to get that back cap off, which you can respect, you know. If they get that 3rd round on the board, that's mental warfare in the bin for nerdRage there. So, only just clutching that out, they have committed to the Gazzy Pyro, which is a very interesting take on playing this map. But I mean, it's going to be very good when they want to take these Uber trades. Pyro notoriously good against Ubers. So you're going to air blast them away from anyone here and reflect all the projectiles heading the way of Seeds. Just managing to get some space here, but Feint Gaming are giving up so much room for very little gain, so unable to make anything happen here. They're just going to be playing from the staircase, shoot these pipes up. Gazzy's actually going to be running out of ammo relatively soon. They're going to pop out the supercharge in towards Moral Alexi, and Gazzy now only has a small amount of flames left in his tank. So looks like it is going to be a relatively even trade here. Both of them are going to be fading at the same time, and nerdRage are going to get out here. But Josh goes down on the flank. Opti's managed to slip his way in behind, and Yeehor has done the same. He's out on the mid-fight, but he is unfortunately here going to be able to retreat back towards Flowers here as the Voxy gets cleaned up and choked. Yeehor eventually going down, so no scouts from the side of Fake Gaming, and it's going to be hard for them to retreat now. The chase is going to be on for the side of nerdRage.
Yeah, Vanny could get destroyed here, but he doesn't. Hugo manages to keep him alive. Opti behind on the back cap, ×2 on mid because he has the pain train, but it's going to get capped up significantly faster on second. See if Opti can do anything on mid rather than just delay. Gaz has actually respawned once again on Pyro. Looks like this is something they want to stick with. And honestly, I'm disappointed by Feint. As you said, they let them in a lot for free there. Maybe they're trying to slow the game down, just play with their round advantage, but that's not how you do it. I mean, playing passive doesn't mean playing passive in that sense, where you just let people in. And now there is a dry push. Josh and Nubby both just sack into a sentry. It picks up more Alexi as well. Sentry 3k, hello Voxy. And they do now have a very easy push out of the last tier from Feint. As long as they don't fall into any traps, get back capped, this should be fine for them.
Check your corners if you're the side of Fake Gaming. Massive damage, the reflected pipe hits Yeehor in the face and also splashed onto a bunch of players. So mini crit damage is coming in massively there. Hugo gets flare gunned at top right as well, going down. It's Pyro finding 2 picks and dealing enough damage to find a third. So they're just flooding in here on the side of nerdRage, getting onto this point. Cat time is down. They're reflecting all of these players off of the point, and Seeds hasn't even popped his Uber. Now using out Moral Alexi here just to get him off the point, and it's going to be a nerdRage round.
My goodness, that's the exact kind of trap you don't want to fall into. 3 players down for nerdRage, and Feint managed to return the favor, immediately turn it into a 6v3 in nerdRage's style instead, and then from there it's all over. In fact, a reflected pipe was what did it. Gaz can just hold mouse 2 and not only deny the damage onto his own team, occasionally he can just get a random frag like that that turns the tides.
The damage from those 2 soldiers just bombing in really early on the side of nerdRage, getting really overzealous on the start of this mid-fight, but they've dealt enough damage to punch a hole in the side of Fake Gaming. They need to play nice and slow now, get arrows, get healed up, and get ready to go. Once again, the mirror mid. Very classic on Sunshine, you know, both teams don't want to give an inch, and Hugo bombing in, super weak here, is eventually going to get cleaned up on the high ground. Good damage on Seeds there, but the crit streak comes out from Seeds, and Seeds going down at the tail end there of his crit streak. They're just going to retreat. Oh my god, Nas boy with the bomb, the stickies to find 2. Opti, the lone survivor here, going to be back in his own cafe here, going to have to take a 1v3, and he's going to get on top of Nasboy here, does clean up that frag, but goes down right at the end.
Yeah, that's not what you want to see. When you manage to take down Seeds like that, Vanny has 85%, but he's cornered in cafe. He knows he just has to stay alive until he gets that Uber, and then Nasboy comes in with that easy double kill, and now this is not looking good for Mac & Co. This is dark times for Feint. Ubercharge advantage the way of Seeds. Once again, we see Gazzy on the Pyro. They are proving this isn't just a gimmick that they want to use on last. This is something they've opted to run full time. And crits, of course, again on Seeds, just keeping this momentum going as much as possible.
The crits is about to come in. Nasboy fires it off. It's in the shutter. Whiffs. Unfortunately, doesn't hit a single player there. Fake Gaming doing a really good job just delta splitting. And Nasboy's going to set up all of those stickies all over the place. And now nerdRage just flooding into last. They know that there are loads of players behind. There's not a lot they can do here. Vanny hasn't even got Ubercharge. They're going to be air blasting them once again, trying to get off this point. And they get a cap time down. It's going to be 2-2.
That is not something you can do when you're Feint. Put 3 players behind like that? What is going on? Obviously, they're just going to walk forwards into you. Second capture's way faster. Last capture's incredibly fast. Vanny doesn't have Ubercharge yet for another good 10 seconds. There is no way you can be taking a risk like that, trying to go behind a crits and throwing away a round like that. Feint have now lost 2 rounds in 4 or 3 minutes for no good reason. They are just really letting the nerves get to them, it feels like. They don't know how to play ahead of the game, as Eames says. And now we are into this mid that could be the final one of the game tonight. Hugo bombing forwards onto Seeds, just gets baited out. Seeds will not fall as of yet. Optian trying to get anything done as well. Still doesn't find Seeds, but it is a 4v4 for now. Vanny alive as well. Nubby now bombing behind, just dragging everyone back on Feint, and they leave Mac alone. The crits is out. The crits is destroying Vanny and Voxy only ones left alive. They need to use this Uber to escape to their own half of the map now. Good job from Voxy to take down Moralexi. The Uber is forced, and look at where they are. There is no way they get out of this. They are a mouse in a maze, and they are just getting cleaned up off the back of it. Vanny gets destroyed. Voxy will trade out the frag onto Nubby, but is it good enough?
Looks like they are managing to get players in behind, causing a little bit of chaos, slowing them down a little bit. But once again, we're in the situation where Seeds now stuck on the Kritzkrieg. The mid-cap time is in the favour of Fake Gaming. They're managing to get more players on this point. They do get the block through, so no forward spawners for the side of Fake Gaming. Vanny is going to have to walk all the way from last heal up his players. Seeds is now going to have 100% on his Kritzkrieg ready to go in towards this second point. 2-2, currently the scoreline, 45 seconds remaining. No way that Feint Gaming can win out this round, so they need to defend this. Voxy very cleverly engineers sentries, do not take crit damage. Going to be building up that sentry gun on this last point here. 5 times capture rate down. Seeds has that Kritzkrieg ready to go. They need to commit their players in through top right. It looks like that is what they're doing. Josh is getting ready, getting healed up, getting ready to go. 30 seconds left. Nasboy taking it from left. They pop this crits out. They fire it off. It doesn't hit a single player, unfortunately. The sentry gun's still alive. They're going to be spamming out. The crit rocket is the engineer. So the engineer going down there. They managed to clear the sentry gun right at the end. Gazzy gets fragged at the end as well. Vanny only up to 74%. Players trying to dive on this point. Moralexi with the cap time down. Loads of cap time down. Nasboy lone survivor. They're all going to go down. We're going to a golden cap unfreeze.
Oh my goodness, this game is the one that keeps on giving, but you can't help but think that Feint threw this one away for no good reason. 2-0 up. It was looking so good for them, and it's just been mistake after mistake since the tactical pause. Obviously, there's been some change up in the way nerdRage have been playing it. They've obviously elected to bring in this Pyro kind of into a mainstay role in the team, but on top of that, I think maybe more than anything, the tactical pause was just to bust Feint's mental, you know, break down the momentum and really have a cohesive turning point with which nerdRage can just start to get back into the game. And they did exactly that. And it felt more like Feint, you know, making themselves lose rather than nerdRage doing so.
Yeah, of course. I think we have a couple seconds of time here as teams are readying up here. But any predictions on how you think the golden cap is going to go, Bunfreeze?
It's really difficult to tell because Feint have been, I'd say, playing better for the majority of the map, but the momentum is so in nerdRage's favor now. If they really have managed to change things up and nerdRage are, you know, in a completely new mindset, they could just take this. Obviously, I'm hoping for the 5th map. That would be super exciting way to end our season. So I'm going to back Feint purely off the back of wanting to see how Snakewater goes down, but I couldn't predict for you. This could go either way.
It could indeed. Both teams have now readied up here, going into the golden cap for Sunshine. If nerdRage win this, they take the finals. If Feint win, we're going to a game 5. Now rolling out for both teams in this grand final match of Season 38 Premiership Division. Mac is going to be rolling out through Flowers. Naspo's going to be doing the same, but Nubby and Fast onto Mac with the sink bomb. Finding the demo at the start of this golden cap is massive here, and Feint Gaming going to be running back with their tails between their legs, back in towards second. Mac dropping the rut row in chat.
What a time to pull that out of the bag. Nubby, he's been going fast on so many mids in so many maps, but that's the one time it's really paid off for absolutely no retaliation. Immediately, Feint not only back on second, but back into their own lobby. They know they can't even hold on to second with no demo man. None of those stickies to put pressure down on all the doors. The crits is out! They do find Hugo with it. Will they find anything else? That's straightforward. Vanny has to use that crit rocket, was too close. Will they find anything with the Uber? Chasing it forwards, they find Josh, they find Gazzy, but they need to get off their own last. It's too scary back here. They need to get out of their own bear trap, and there is already some cap time on second. Voxy managing to cap it up a little bit. They are forcing nerdRage back to middle.
Yeah, Vanny there, escaping through lower left and managing to get in here. But Seeds 75% of his Kritzkrieg here. Getting very close to that next Chris. Gazzy once again up on the Pyro. I think Gazzy being on this Pyro is putting them in a little bit of mental warfare. These soldiers really do not want to bomb into this Pyro for fear of being reflect air shot, but I feel like you've got to go for it, especially when they're on this Kritzkrieg as the standard lineup. The crit is about to come through. Seeds has that crit available. They're sending in the high bombs. All these players are playing in dungeons, so it's not going to be a good crit. But looks like they've got Yeehor currently in behind. They know he's there. They're managing to get the cleanup damage down, but Josh trades out for it, so they're able to move up here. And they have Uber for Vanny. They're on top of Seeds. They need to block this cap. Seeds sus all the way back, though. Very beautiful stuff from him. And Opti just bombing in top of more. Alexi manages to get that frag, but Nasboy and Gazzy now separated from their medic. So unable to rejoin the fight here, and Gazzy eventually we're seeing the weakness of Pyro as the crits comes in. Nubby finds 2 immediately, firing off these rockets, trying to find anything else with it. Eventually does flick these rockets all over the place, though. Isn't going to find anything else here. Opti actually popping out that banner now to counteract the crit streak, and they're able to get in towards mid as this fight is just elongating, but no heals still for the side of Feint Gaming. So Seeds still being alive, just pumping out those heals into his players, keeping them in this game. But Seeds once again is going to have this crit streak available. Yes.
Yeah, the forward spawns is really turning the tide in this fight. Seeds knew that he could just play up near his own choke. Vanny, no heals on their side. And it was a good play from Feint. They knew that they could use the Uber into the crits. But the fact that they didn't find Seeds or even force out his crits meant that this entire scenario was played out as we saw with that huge repush from Nubby. Now Seeds once again has the crits. Vanny only on 35%, so he can't really juke for it this time. Nubby has been found on the flank. Yeehor and Opti have been busting this consistently every single time Seeds has been wanting to use the crits, and now they do have Yeehor behind in Cafe, which is putting a bung on things.
Looks like Yeehor has managed to slip back out as well. So they thought he was in behind, manages to slide out, and more Alexi here standing on the high ground to spot him leaving here. So able to escape there, but Nubby has actually committed to the spy play this time around. They know that they have this to deal with this Uber, and Nubby needs to find this pick on the espionage class. We've seen him have a lot of success on this class in the past. He's actually disguised as a friendly scout, not as a friendly sniper, so not wanting to throw that one away. He now cloaks up, moving around this corner here, making his way in towards second here. Very squeaky moving in here, dodging these players.
This is also effectively 100% advantage for Vanny as well at the moment. They could just use towards this Seeds crits and see what they can get, and that looks like what they're going to do. Nubby with a complete fail on the spy attempt. Now, will Feint, they have this 5v6, they have Uber advantage versus Kritzkrieg. Will they be able to pull this one out? They really need to find Seeds with it, or at least a hell of a lot of frags, as they do bomb straight in. Gazzy just launches back into the sky.
Did you see that flare gun? He reflected him into the skybox, and Gazzy hits the air shot with the flare gun to crit him.
Find Vanny as well. With the very first sticky from Nasboy, the bomb is now in from Hugo, trying to put a stop to this Kritzkrieg, but it's too little too late. Yeehor on the point, very, very low. Opti's gonna fall now as well. Just 2 scouts against the world on the sides of Feint. Nubby getting chased down into second. Yeehor doing anything he can, but he's gonna fall. That Pyro reflects, basically taking Mac out of the Uber, followed by the immediate Vanny kill with the very first sticky. That could be the end of the hopes and dreams of Feint here in ETF2L Season 38. This round, if it goes nerdRage's way, will be the end of our season. They will be your grand final champions.
Heading in towards top right now with their Kritzkrieg in hand, ready to pop it out. They don't want to let the Central Gun go up as they're popping out the Kritzkrieg. The sticky comes in. It whiffs once again. Unfortunate stuff there. They're swapping onto the scout, swapping onto the damage, but unfortunately can't find the frags. But again behind on Vanny, on his head. They clean him up right at the end there as Seeds is escaping with Josh and more Alexi here, back out of second. And they are wanting to roughly defend this, but unfortunately they're going to have to retreat. They don't have the players available to back them up, but they do get their forward spawners here. The cap coming through from Feint Gaming, but they need to pick up Vanny. But once again, same game plan. They're dealing with the Kritzkrieg.
Seeds has reused this one Kritzkrieg so many times, and I say that he does now eventually switch off, which Feint may not be expecting. And that was so unfortunate there. Everyone from Feint was so focused on the failed nerdRage push, trying to look forwards, try and get the frags. They just left Vanny all alone. Nubby basically had free reign to do what he wanted with him, and Vanny did his best dodging for as long as possible, but it was not enough in the end. There is even Ubers though, of course, seeing as Seeds has switched off.
A thought has just occurred to me that Feint Gaming may still be in the mode that they think it's Kritzkrieg, so they're going to peek Nasboy aggressively here, and Feint Gaming are going to sit super far back, which opens up a ton of space here for nerdRage to just walk in, and they are just doing exactly that. They're just wandering in, basically, through this choke. But now, Vanny's going to have his Uber charge, going to be feeling a lot more comfortable here, but I feel like they're still going to be waiting around for a Kritzkrieg that's never going to happen.
Yeah, this could be a mistake. Look at Mac's position. It looks like he's trying to edge towards, like he wants to do something. If they do elect to use this so-called Ubercharge advantage that they have versus a now non-existent Kritzkrieg, it could blow up in their face. Nasboy is actually bluffing them out in chat. He's saying Uber versus Crits in chat, trying to imply Seeds is still on the Kritzkrieg. Obviously, he's not. Will Feint take the bait? Surely once your opponent says it, that makes it obvious, right? You don't want to fall for that.
No, I mean, you know, it's gonna be rough. They do for Nubby with a spoon. Actually, Vanny uses. He's so scared.
Did he even fire a rocket?
No, he went with the spoon.
That's dreadful from Vanny. You can't do that. At the end of the day, you just if destiny is that you drop there, you should drop there. You do not use to a spoon. That is ridiculous. This could be so devastating for them. If Feint lose off the back of that, they are going to be so embarrassed. nerdRage now pushing this one forwards. They get a free kill onto Hugo, trying to deny the push. Gazzy, obviously the Pyro, just a complete anti-soldier, will get through based on that. Josh is going to fall, but trading out for Voxy. Vanny still doesn't have this Uber up yet. Could that be the nail in the coffin? They're running straight in onto last. Oh my god, the cap time is in. Mac going down super low. He's in the corner. The Uber is facing all against him. There's so much cap time. It's done! They are your grand final champions. nerdRage, off the back of a Market Gardener force, managed to take ETF2L Season 38.
GG, well played. That was so nice at the end there from nerdRage, just faking that Kritzkrieg, make them play in a poor position. But Vanny, like you mentioned, using out that Uber charge unfortunately cost them the entire series right at the end there. But you got to give it to Nubby there, going for the cojones to go for that spoon in that situation. You know, it's going to take a lot of balls to do that. But at the end of the day, you know, nerdRage have been playing consistently throughout the season. They were the top seed to win it out, and at the end of the day, they do deserve the W in this grand final. It's going to be winning it out 3-1 as the final scoreline. If we went to Snakewater, it may have been a different story, actually, since Feint Gaming have been pretty consistent on that map so far. But overall, Bumfries, incredible finals.
Yeah, an absolutely brilliant finals, and just a brilliant series throughout, you know. And my heart absolutely breaks for Vanny. I mean, imagine the pressure of that situation with everything on the line. It's so easy to make a mistake like that, and then to have it immediately punished is going to be so hard for Feint Gaming, but that's the way the cookie crumbles at the end of the day. We will throw it over to our analysts once again. Turbo and Eames, please break that one down for us.
I've been asked many things, Eames, but never have I been asked to break down analytically a pocket pyro, the forcing meme spoon, a constant Kritzkrieg going off, the bluffing of said constant Kritzkrieg and Ubercharge mechanics. So much beef, I feel like I could start a cattle ranch, and then people hitting shots they have no just any sort of justification for hitting. How do you analyze this? What do we even talk about?
I'm afraid you have to analyze it in the exact same way as I analyze product on the very first map, which is that Feint, overall they were playing better. They had nerdRage worked out. They were winning lots of fights. They were making nice plays, and they got ahead. They got in a good position. They were 2-0 up, Turbo. And
Yes.
we even saw, you know, the shit talking chat was pretty funny to watch. At first it was from both teams, okay. Then Feint took a round, and then it was mostly, then it was mostly from Yeehaw, okay. Then it was from Feint coming in. So nerdRage went absolutely deadly silent. And then finally we had this pause, 2-minute of pause.
Tactical pause. I forgot about the tactical pause.
The strategy that they came out with basically was crits pyro, and Feint are thinking, "What is this? What am I seeing? I haven't scrimmed to prepare for this. I haven't, you know, I can't go watch a demo right now and think about how I should play against the pyro. I've just got to adapt to it in the situation." And they, you know, they were already in a mindset where they were sort of, they felt passive because they didn't want to give up their lead, and they exactly played into it basically by being way too passive. They gave up that one round where they lost 1 point in succession over and over again, all the way to their last, basically just by running away. Okay, and so what I'm saying overall is that Feint got in their own heads. nerdRage successfully got in their heads, to their credit, by playing Pyro, by doing this weird off-the-wall play, but really Feint are going to be absolutely kicking themselves, because they had nerdRage where they wanted them, they had the shit talk going on, they had the 2 rounds up, and they threw it all away.
They even, at one point, I've never seen this in TF2, and I've been around for a long time, but they tried to bluff the fact that they were still running Kritzkrieg and suggesting in chat, like, oh, it's you should push, guys. We've got crits. 5-head gameplay. All right, well, I think we've got some logs. We've got some combined logs, and I only want to really address the logs because it's quite a unique image to look at, because in the combined logs you see Josh towering over everybody, and then systematically every Feint player is underneath him, and yet the major, I should say, has come out on top.
Well, certainly in terms of the damage. It is obviously hard to analyze logs in such a strange game as that, but Kunu 31 kills there, really pulling it through. Although, in fact, Yeehor as well, that was one crucial thing. At one point, about 50 minutes in, when they were 2-0 up, Yeehor had 4 DOMs. He was playing absolutely out of his mind, particularly on 2 crucial mid-fights where it was very, very even, and you saw that the first mid of the whole map on Sunshine, it was extremely even, very, very slow, tactical mid, and then Yeehor comes in at the end and he out DMs, I think, the pocket scout, I think it was Kunu, and then he gets the med, and it was a huge play, and he did a similar thing multiple other times. So halfway into the map, Yeehor has 4 DOMs, they're 2-0 up, and he says something like, haha, you guys are losing,
Yeah.
And the tactical pause, the completely, just who would have thought Crits Pyro was what they were going to bring out, and everything turns around. I mean, it's just a complete tragedy.
And I mean, I want to give a bit of credit to Moralexi on the other side of things as well. It's not easy being a pocket scout in a game where your medic can't go invulnerable, and he was making it work. Like, there was loads of bomb attempts and just constant pressure. That's what you do when the crits comes in. You just get on top of that medic because you know he could just die in an instant. But it was kind of playing into Moralexi's sort of gameplay. He really was like one-shotting, two-shotting people that were just bombing straight at seeds there, and my god. Whew. All right, Eames, is there any points we need to quickly cover before we start moving along here?
Well, there's many things, I suppose, but yeah, I mean, a very, very intense golden cap there. Obviously, as Bum mentioned, the tragic, the Vanny popping at the end to the nubby Market Gardener. I think probably you can imagine maybe in Feint's comms at that moment, they were thinking, are they still on crits? Nasboy just said that in chat. Maybe they are, maybe they aren't, and that's more or less what they're focused on. And they were not aware. Or not attuned to the fact that Nubby was about to be coming in, flying in so quickly, and Vanny just sees him. Nubby is known to hit these kind of marking gunners. He's got a crazy highlight of him doing that a very long time ago. But Vanny just thinks, what, this guy's got me. My team isn't prepared, and it all goes downhill from there.
It's one of those plays where if it works, you look like a genius. You look like a genius, 5-head supermaster of the game. But when it doesn't work, you obviously you're going to get some pecking from not only Twitch chat, but maybe some players as well. So I'm not going to be too harsh on Vanny. It's one of those plays where if it works, if he actually did get the hit off onto him, he would have looked like an absolute genius, and they could have maybe did something with it. But it just worked the other way, I'm afraid.
Yes, indeed.
All right. Well, I've been putting it off. I've been trying to ask you many questions because I see a lot of players waiting for interviews. So we're going to, in good old grand final style, we're going to barrel them all in here. All of them. All like 7 of them. Oh, God. And we're going to have a good old-fashioned interview. Now, boys, we're all unmuting you, so please keep it Christian as possible. We will keep track of who's saying what, but I will try and come to all of you one at a time, and we'll try and get a question in each. First off, we're going to give our commiserations and our congratulations to nerdRage for winning out. I'm going to start with Josh. Josh, how are you feeling? How are you feeling about your team and the victory and all that?
We were never going to lose.
Wow, strong words straight out. Gaz, is this what the atmosphere was like in the Mumble as well?
Yes. After we did the comeback on Sunshine, I think people were so confident that we don't lose. And I think you could see that in the momentum shift.
All right, fair play, fair play. Mac, Mr. Mac, I'm sure you had just as much confidence brimming in that faint Mumble as well, or is it a different atmosphere compared to the nerdRage?
I don't know, man. We were just playing some games. Call it cope, but it's the reality of the situation, baby.
Hey man, you're a brave soul to come into an interview like this.
I'm on my own, man. I have my guys.
You still chill. You're one man punching army. I can respect that, and I'm sure everybody out there will respect that as well. Seeds.
Hi.
What was said in that tactical pause? So you guys paused the game at that final moment. What was said? What magical words did you say? Did you literally say like crits, pyro? Was those the only 2 words, or were there more words than that?
Naz said, I am lagging. Josh said, I need a piss. I said, I'm pausing. That's literally it. It wasn't a tag pause.
So no tactical pause as well.
It was a real trip to kind of win Prem on permacrits and permapyro. That was pretty weird.
Kunu, come on, tell me. You can tell me. There were tactical things said during this pause, right? Right?
We basically said we're going to stop being passive and we're just going to go all in and not care.
Yeah. The pause wasn't. Sorry, I'm very ill. It wasn't intended to be tactical, but it ended up being once people came back, we just thought of something to do.
That's like the nature of all pauses. Even if it's not.
It's opportunities.
It's like another reason we lost. So,
Mac, usually a lot of people are critical of Prem players when they're watching from their backseat army banny sort of stance kind of gameplay watching via Twitch chat, but I know you Prem players, you're the most critical of yourselves. Was there anything you yourself looked at your own gameplay or maybe your team's gameplay and thought like, oh, I was a bit disappointed in this?
Product, I remember immediately after we lost it, we knew exactly why we lost it, but now I can't say why. I'm like, it's escaping me. But I don't know. Sunshine was really embarrassing, to be honest, the way we lost it. So kind of deserved the flack for that one. We did like the classic thing of like go 2-0 up, time's on our side, and then like don't hold any doors properly as they dry push because it's their only option. Like they did it well, and we did our part poorly. That's like the only way they win anyway, and it happened.
Nice boy. You were in the grand final where crits was being run what felt like for an eternity. How does it feel playing in a Demoman game like that? Is that a lot of pressure? Do you not like having all the onus put onto you, or is it fun having just constant crits being pumped into you?
Yeah, of course it's fun, but it's not pressure. Obviously, I missed a lot, but yeah, we still got the dub, all that counts. No one's gonna remember the crits, they just remember the dub. So happens, innit? But my team carried me.
We can make sure they remember.
Yeah, last 10 minutes, 2-0 down, we stepped up, realized that they're not very good, so yeah, and then all it really was.
Nubby, you did a first. I've not seen many people force from a market gardener attempt as well. Were you just as shocked as everybody else was, or is this quite commonplace for you?
No, before I jumped, I said I'm gonna drop 4 force the med.
Wow,
that was weird that the force worked, but
I've actually never had Nubby so pumped. Like he sounded really excited. He was so sure of it, and it just worked.
But I guess I don't really blame Benny because it was like like golden cap plus map if we win, like super high pressure. So
I don't know. Seeds wouldn't have popped that.
Yes, Seeds would have dropped
that. That is true, but
Seeds would not have popped that. What was that like? Was like 30 damage rocket Nubby, and he just pops?
No, I just
he was a spoon in his face.
Oh, what, you missed the spin and he popped. Oh, I see.
All right, Josh. Any critical bits that you want to critique your team while you've got them all here? I don't think you'll see them for a long time for demo review, so you might as well tell them what they did badly now.
Don't even do demo reviews, mate.
Yeah, we've never done a single demo review.
Don't need
Funny.
to.
Against these players, we don't need to. Or against every team.
What about
Granary.
critique though? You must critique your teammates.
What, me?
Yeah, surely there must be something like, in this, the grand final wasn't flawless. There was obviously maps lost to Feint Gaming. Was there anything that you were like, oh, damn, I really wish we did better at this?
That wasn't exactly as if we lost the map. Just wasn't like they did anything special to win that map. Like it didn't. If you look it back, they didn't outplay us. Like.
It was just kind of 4 maps.
Come on, Josh.
Come on, Josh. Because
we didn't outplay you, but we won the match.
Just tell them how I fucked up everything on Granary. Just do
Basically, we lost the game. They didn't win it. That's all it was. That's how these lot win.
Wait, but that's my line.
All right, I see there's a lot of positive vibes, obviously, just going through. Everyone's feeling happy. So instead, I'm going to go through players just one by one and just tell me, and we'll round off the interview with this, maybe with a few Eames questions as well, smart questions, as I like to call them. Just tell me which player was kind of giving you the biggest headache in the game. So then you have to compliment the enemy. There you go.
For me, I won't lie, it was Mac. He played.
I would say Opti. Especially on products, he was very annoying to deal with.
And Opti.
Guys, how about you, buddy? He's not there.
Def.
Which player on Feint Gaming was giving you the most trouble?
Oh, definitely Opti. I think Opti was definitely the best player this match.
Opti played incredibly well.
Yeah.
Opti's a beast. Actually a beast.
The same for you, Nobby? Opti, or was it a scout, perhaps?
I mean, it's probably the scouts, but I didn't feel like anyone was rating me super hard. But it was the scouts if I would have to pick one. But I don't know if it was Yo or Voxy.
It was definitely Voxy. Yo was on sniper the whole game, bro. Missing. On sniper, missing.
All right, Josh, I've got you in a corner now. Now you have to compliment somebody. Tell me, who gave you the most trouble in this game?
Me, no one, but the team itself was Opti. Opti was Opti turned up like crazy. The guy's definitely full worth of winning Prem. It'd be good to see when he can actually do it.
And Mac, round us out. Just to who do you think is that man of the match for nerdRage there? Who was kind of being a beast?
Probably Josh, because he wrangles all these guys.
Yeah,
that's very true.
All right, Eames, have we got any smart questions back there? Any tactical questions, anything like that?
Not really, honestly.
Okay.
It's too late, if I'm honest.
All right.
Yeah, we don't want your dumb questions.
You're right, boys.
What was Feint's comms like when the Vanny pop happened? Were you disappointed?
On
Sunshine?
No, we were going with it. It's I don't know. I think people are making too big a deal out of it, but I didn't see it, right? To me, it looked like guy goes in with Market Gardener, has the right angle and jump and shit. So he uses. That's what it looked like to me. If that wasn't the case, then it was probably a bad pop. But you have to go with what's happened. You can't defy the reality of the situation.
You weren't just immediately checked out.
I think the big thing is you shouldn't think about that moment. We should think of the stuff that led to it. We had we didn't know they'd even switched to Uber at that point. But for example, we had so many opportunities to Uber into the crits, which granted they know is coming or should have known. So
yeah, I mean Naspo was typing in chat to try and bait you into doing it.
Yeah, but none of us have him. None of us see his messages.
Naspo has been muted by everybody in Prem since week 2, man.
They can't handle it. But to be fair, second place is good for you guys. You guys definitely overachieved. I thought you were probably gonna get third or fourth.
Right. Okay.
I honestly thought top 5 or Charlie's.
We are
right.
sorry about that.
Okay, I can see where this is going. I can see where
how
this
is that
goes.
rude? I'm just saying what I think that top 5 or Charlie's team could have gotten second.
I'm just saying
these man.
You're right.
Wait, how many is this? How many grand finals did you have to try before you won?
Oh, how many grand finals have you been?
Right. Whoa, order!
I'm a winner. I'm a winner.
What, 30% win rate?
I'm a winner.
Mac, you're fucking courage, dude.
Let's-
What else am I gonna do?
Okay, boys.
Well, look,
I'm
better
gonna
luck
do
next
some
time, don't worry
translating. I'm
about
gonna
it,
do some translating. You're right. It was a very close season with everybody involved. It was a great watch for everybody. Absolutely everyone. A privilege to watch. A privilege to watch every single game. So we're gonna round it off here. We're gonna, put our package into a nice tidy bow here, and we're gonna just sound it off with some nice PG shout outs.
Yeah.
So we're gonna go alphabetically, starting with players because you've been all such lovely good boys and girls for the most part. And so Kunu. Can you
Cheers. Shout out to the team, especially Josh, for this season. Been really fun. Really enjoyed it. Especially in the NA Cup as well. Actually, that was really, really enjoyable. Shout out to you guys for casting, producing, all that jazz. I'm sure I'll enjoy watching the VOD later. And shout out to Minna because I saw she fucking added me in the tweet earlier and it popped up on my phone.
Gaz?
Yeah, of course, shout out to my team. Shout out to the people that mixed against us because Feint was too scared to scrim us. Shout out to Feint's Council of Coaches. Shout out to Ringo and shout out to the German community. By the way, we have a German tournament going this weekend, so tune in.
Yes, please do tune into that. I do love those little sort of community-backed things. All right, Josh, you got any shout-outs for us?
Shout out to Mandem, the Div 2 team. Shout out to the NA teams for that NA Cup. That was like probably some of the best games we got to play. And then my team and Lego.
Mac?
Give me a second to compose myself here.
Okay.
All right. Shout out to my team. They all did a great job. I don't know, had fun. Shout out to all the other teams that played the season and were reasonable scrim partners and weren't acting like mental faces, and that's about it.
Nice boy.
Yeah, obviously shout out my team. Shout out you guys, of course. Production, all that shit. Casters. Shout out Yeho, Matt, Hugo for making that win that much easier. What else?
Jesus,
Yeah. Yeah, shout out Northwest London.
All right, no B.
Shout outs to my team. Shout outs to Daga, Eemes, Tram, Rapey, Barney, Dying Slave 22, and all my Hungarian friends.
Seeds?
Shout out everyone on my team for being the best teammates and players I could ask for. Shout out everyone on Feint, Rivs, and our biggest fan, our most dedicated fan in the whole world, Doey. We love you, man. Keep up.
Can I have one more shout out real quick?
Sure, one more.
Yeah, shout out Poop Part.
Wait, can I have one actually?
Oh my god, okay, one more.
Shout out to nerdRage Swift Danny.
All right, okay.
But yeah, shout out Demo as well for always like murking and Danny.
Oh yeah, shout out to Demo.
Damn it,
Big
casters,
shout out.
come in quickly, shout over them, do your jobs. Say your shout outs now.
Bum, do you want to go first?
Sure. I'm just going to do a generic sappy shout out to everyone because that was a really great game to watch and cast, so thank you.
Yeah, shout outs to you guys for a great game. Shout outs to Beta and Arch for producing as well. They go through a lot of thankless work throughout the season, especially Arch. He does quite a lot for everyone, and Dumb for organising us all into one weird, befuddled mess in Team Fortress TV. So, yeah, big shout out to him. Shout out to the bus crew as well. Love those boys. And you, Bum Freeze, for co-casting with me. It's been a great grand finals.
Eames.
Shout out to the teams for a very good grand finals as well, and shout out to the England Sixes team.
All right, that's us, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, so you've just watched our grand final of ETF2L Season 38. If you've just missed it, don't worry. You can always catch it on the Twitch VOD or on YouTube. We will upload these eventually at some point. But otherwise, a big shout out to all the Team Fortress TV staff. If you want to find any more information about all these Team Fortress events, maybe that German thing Gaz was talking about, or the, is it DreamHack? think it's DreamHack. There's some like EU tournament going on at some point. You should all get signed up. It's we got the details up on there. So yeah, find out more about that information. Otherwise, I want a big shout out to all of our guests that joined in from onto the interview. Thank you. I want a big shout out to just both of the teams, even the players we didn't get to see in the interview, and a big shout out to everybody at home for watching. I've been TurboTabs. A big thank you to Bum and Lucky for casting, ArchRhythm and Beta for covering as well, and Eames for joining us on that bonus sort of grand final. That's us. All right, bye bye now. See ya.